All right, guys, we have the start to the match. Looks like Jeremy actually forgot to clear a couple of things off of here, so let me get those scores right.
So he's huge. It's crazy. He's like up to here, and he's standing up. Like, yes, trying to walk, but just can't. Good luck to both of y'all, man. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for letting us play. No problem.
Sorry, guys, just give me a minute here, and I'll get the actual names up on the scoreboard correctly. Jeremy did win the flip, so he did take the break. They're playing basically by Jeremy's tournament rules. They're going to be calling their shots. The 9 has to be called. If the 9 is slopped, it'll be player option.
There's two cameras.
All right. Okay. All right, guys, and again, this is a match between Jeremy Mason and Richard Grund. Playing for Free Peanuts here over at Castro's Place. Real nice table over here in Dover. 9-foot diamond. And Richard comes with a safe shot. I believe he got it. Jeremy's got a nice little avenue there to get to the 2-ball. He can really just kind of play this at his leisure. He can kind of pinch it off the rail a little bit, take the 3. You probably see him play just a little bit of a draw stroke. Just let it kind of touch the rail and come out a little bit for that 3-ball. And there you go. You're probably going to see both players coming in a little bit slow to start with. You always got to work through your nerves a little bit, get your stroke down. Jeremy plays that nice and clean. That 4-ball does pass the 8. I don't think he's quite on the angle that he wanted for that shot, but he should still be okay. And Jeremy goes in and plays a little safety there. He's able to break them up, but still leave Richard without an actual open shot. He should be able to come in with this kind of just with a 1-rail kick. He can actually come behind that 4-ball, send it up the table, and leave the cue, hopefully to be able to actually bounce out off the rail a little bit behind the 8. He can use the 8 and the 6 as coverage. So if he catches this right off of that short rail, he can actually send the 4 up table, and again gets to use the 8 and the 6 as coverage, and either way he still pulls separation between the 4 and the cue ball. You'll notice Richard's actually playing with a proper pull cue now. He did switch to a Jacoby 2-piece. A little different than that snooker cue that he was used to. And there you see he plays that beautifully, gets the kick. Not quite sure if he got the coverage, but he did get the distance. Really can't ask for a lot better than that. While Jeremy has a full view, he does not have a standard shot on it. And he's going to go ahead and play safety back here. Going to use the 5 and the 9 as coverage. Jeremy shoots with a Predator and a Q-Tech shaft on it. Richard is definitely still one of the purists, so he's always going to be with the wooden shaft. I don't think you'll ever see him go to a carbon fiber. It took years of convincing even to get him to switch off of that snooker cue and switch over to what he's using now. See Rich, he's just really looking it over, seeing where he wants his angle. Looks like he's going to be planning to come in on this with 2 rails. Oh, and he got a little too much onto that. Brought it in a little early. He actually got more action on that than he wanted to. So Jeremy will come up to the table with ball in hand. He'll take a look over it, see what he wants to do here. Now what he's going to do is he's just going to go ahead and play this with a draw stroke. He's going to go ahead and come off that long rail and just come across over for the 5. And there you have it. And he was able to do that with no real concerns there. He was able to just kind of come around. The 8 and the 6 were really the only thing he had to make sure he got past. And again, you're probably going to see him put a little bit of a draw stroke. Yep, just come up for the 6. And at this point, he really should be out from here. I'll probably just put a little bit of a pinch on it just to hold it on the line. And at this point, it's really just whatever he's comfortable with. It's kind of hard for me to tell exactly what his angle is here. Probably just going to play a stop shot and then just take the 9. Okay, so he had a little more angle than I thought, so he just played it to the rail and out. Really trying to land in the same area. So you see him taking his time. He always makes sure to line up for his shot. Get a little bit of chalk on the cue. And he'll go ahead and play this nice and smooth. There you go. And Jeremy takes the first game. Brings himself to a lead with 1-0 against Richard Grund. They are racing to 15, so we have plenty more action still to come. All right, Richard takes the break on that one. They are actually playing an alternating break format here, so you will not see a winner break. Tyler, sorry, I was a little preoccupied. I didn't have the stream up to be able to see the questions yet. They are playing for $250 each, so there is $500 in the middle. See Rich getting a little bit of love there from Timothy. And guys, if you have any issues with the stream, sound, video quality, anything like that, just give me a heads up. See Roof Doctor's in here, keeping an eye on some things. Yeah, Mike, I'll try and keep it up a little bit louder. It's yeah, I'm in the same room, so I don't want to go over too much of the shot sequences and such and mess with a player. All right, you'll see Jeremy over here. He's just getting an idea of where he wants to land for this 6 ball. He really doesn't have a lot of trouble with it. It's just a matter of whether he wants to follow through and come out 2 rails or if he just wants to draw off of it. It looks like he's going to actually draw off of it and just kind of come to the long rail. Yep, just use it to come back. Nice. Not quite exactly what he wanted, but I know he's close enough to where he's going to go. At this point, I assume Jeremy's going to go ahead and he's going to flow through this with a top shot. See him kind of come out. He's going to come out 2 rails for the 7. Oh, he just drew back off. Okay, so he had less angle than I thought. I do forget sometimes Jeremy also is a player that does like to play a lot more stun and draw outs. And this one, he'll just go ahead and come forward, come back across. He just wants to get under this 8 a little more than that, because he's not really happy with where he landed, but he can still come around for this 9. Now it looks like he's actually going to play this with a little bit of inside English. Yeah, and he played it to hold it in. Not really sure I would have gone with that one. He put a little bit of a harsher stroke on it too, which kind of took a lot of the action away. You can actually play that with just more of a float and a little bit of outside English and come 3 rails. And just come underneath the 9. It's just more of a pace shot. You just have to know what speed you're hitting it at. But you see him, he just kind of comes in. He lines up nice and straight. And he does miss that one. That's going to leave a shot here for Richard. And you're going to see Richard, he'll still take his time. He's going to take his look over the shot. Make sure he's got what he wants. Make sure he's got his nerves out. You will always notice that Richard always plays with an open bridge hand. Oof. And he let an opportunity to bring it tied to go there. And Jeremy will definitely make short work of this one. But you notice he still always makes sure he sets up, gets his mechanics in. Man, he goes in and drains the shot. And that takes Jeremy to a 2-0 lead. It will be Jeremy's break. Again, they are playing alternating format. And you'll see we do have some sponsors for the stream tonight. There's Dependable Electric, Lakeside Physical Therapy, that's Pompey Pomploma. He's got, I believe, 3 locations in southern Delaware. I'll check with Jeremy, make sure if it was 3 or 4. Ariel, Your Highest Self, that is a CBD company with Gary Cottingham. And Jeremy's home bar, Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar, he always runs a tournament there, usually just about every Friday night, some Saturdays and such, and I believe there's actually a Wednesday tournament. BZB, Home Improvement, Custom Carpentry, Dustin Bunting. You have all his information there to be able to get a hold of him. And again, Dependable Electric, that is Charles Hudson. He covers Delaware, and I believe he says Wycomico County in Maryland. I'll make sure to get that exact for you a little later. But we're going to bring you back up to the action now. If you guys do have any questions about any of the sponsors, by all means, just ask in the stream, or you can get a hold of Jeremy, and he can always set you up. Jeremy had a nice break here. He did have an open shot at the 1. I don't believe he was actually playing a safety there, but he did get it backdoored in. Rich is kind of stuck there behind the 8 ball. You see him kind of tapping the chalk along the rail. He's going to have to figure out how he wants to come into this one. Realistically, the only option I can see here is he's going to have to come 2 rails or a 3rd and just kind of come up behind the 1 ball. Now, Richard is a former snooker player over in England, so you'll notice that he's probably not going to use the diamond system as much. When you play on the snooker table, you don't actually have the spots to be able to figure out where you're going to land. You just had to be able to see your angles and know where they were going. Again, Rich just taking his time, looking over the shot, making sure what he wants. He just brushes by that ball. Again, Jeremy will come to the table with ball in hand. You guys will notice that you're going to see that a lot more at this level. The players playing a lot more safety shots. It's really how you get your advantage. See, Jeremy tries to keep a good pace for himself. He tries not to speed up too much. He's just going to play this through and just kind of follow down to the rail. Give himself a little bit of an angle on that 3. He does have it, so he'll be able to come out for the 5 ball. You'll see he's got a little bit of angle there, so he should be able to just follow forward. Comes right over for the 5. And at this point, he really doesn't have a lot of difficulty. All he has to do is make sure that when he lands for this 7, that he does give himself a little bit of angle. And so you'll notice he gave himself plenty of angle on the 6, so that when he comes in, he can actually just kind of come off the rail and get a little bit of height for the 7 ball. Because he wants to make sure he has that natural angle to be able to just kind of jump over for the 8. Oh, Richard, that's awesome. I'll have to make sure to let him know that you're watching the stream. I'll give him a heads up here in a little bit when they finish up this rack. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've actually met any of his buddies that played from him when he was overseas. Alright, with that 9 ball, Jeremy jumps to a 3-0 lead. Rich is really going to want to get something going here soon. He might want to try to maybe play a little bit safer. Hopefully he gets a good reaction out of this break. If he can get control of this rack, it'll put him into a nice rhythm. That's basically all he has to remember is it's only 3. It's 3 racks. They're burning into 15. There's a lot of pool left in this match. But Rich does not want to get down like a 5-0 or anything of that nature. It just kind of gets in your head a little bit. So he's going to want to go ahead and maybe get control on this. With the alternating break format, it does make it a lot easier. You don't get so much going against you all at once. You do have a chance to gain control of a game again. Rich does still break with a 1-piece cue for his break cue. If I remember correctly, it's just a standard house cue, but he had a phenolic. Can't remember if it's G10 or not, but he has a phenolic tip and ferrule on it. You'll notice that when he breaks, he does not move much at all. You'll see his bridge hand stays down completely smooth. Now his 1 ball did drop in the side, but his 2 came out beautiful for him. He's got a nice wide open rack here. This could be his chance to really bring something back. Alright, you'll see Rich played a nice smooth stroke all the way through that shot. Was able to bring the action and bring that cue ball all the way around for the 3. At this point, he's going to draw back off of it. He's just going to stun out underneath this 5 and take the 4 into the other pocket. There you go. And you'll notice that when Rich starts really kind of getting into his pace, when he starts getting into his rhythm, he'll play a little bit smoother. He tends to always be a little bit of a slow start. He's very mechanical, so it just takes him a little bit of time to really kind of dial it in. Again, you'll always see him with that open bridge. That is from his snooker background. Closed bridge is really not his style, but he always has a nice smooth stroke. His back arm is very straight. You won't see him miscue a lot of things off of that. He's a little unhappy with how he landed here on this 5. He's going to have to kind of go. He's going to either have to put a stroke on or he's going to have to go up and down the table. It's really a matter of what he chooses to do with this one. There you go. He just kind of comes up and down the table. Gets a nice little bump there off the rail. And he's looking right back to where he wants to be. He should be able to just go ahead and play through this 7. He's just kind of looking it over. And you can see they're kind of there, but he should be able to just kind of play through this and come across the table and just cut the 8 into the opposite corner. There you go. So he just goes to play above it. Only thing he was worried about was making sure that he didn't bring the 9 into play, and he did not, so he is beautiful here. So you're going to see him, he's just going to draw off this 8 just a little bit, just to bring the cue ball above the 9. Well played, well played. made sure that he was not stuck on the rail, nothing of that nature. And he puts a really, really good track together here. And just like that, Richard is back in the game. Getting that monkey off his back and getting that first rack down. All right, and we are back. And Jeremy has a bit of a powerful break. He does not do a real finesse break, but he's a little unhappy with this one. The one ball did kind of get away from him. Took itself all the way down to the short rail. Normally he wants that to kind of sit a little bit off to the side so he has a shot in the corner. But he does have a full view of it, so he's going to be able to make something come out of this. Probably just going to see a safety shot. And there you go. He's going to play it, just kind of bring it underneath the 4 and the 8. Sends the one up the other end of the table. So Rich has got his work cut out for him. Jeremy's playing nice and smart here. He's not trying to let anything go. He's not going for the crazy shot. Rich is just going to look it over. Jeremy's definitely keeping him out of his rhythm. Rich just had a great run on that last rack, so Jeremy wants to make sure he puts the brakes on him a little bit. And I believe Richard called the 9 in the side. He's going to be playing 2 rails underneath the 1. You see him lining that up there. I'm not sure he's really going for it, but that one ball is going to be coming into the path of the 9 if he does catch this correctly. He doesn't come away with anything great, but you know, he did actually make contact with this time, so he may be getting his angles in a little bit better. And you notice that the first couple he had a little bit of a struggle there, so it's actually kind of nice to see him able to hit that 2-railer. Jeremy with a little bit of tester here, having to come off from the short rail. All right. And he doesn't come out with an exact safe, but he really did kind of block the pocket from Richard a little bit, so he's going to have to kind of come with something here. He's got a couple of options. He can just kind of move the 1 over, kind of let it slide up underneath the 4 ball, and try and let the cue kind of come up table a little bit. If he can kind of nip it, and then he can just kind of keep the cue ball around maybe a diamond and a half or so, or he can come all the way up the table and kind of come back behind the 6 and 3. Oh, did he get away with it? Wow. That was a great shot by Richard. He actually played a lot more of the table than I would have thought he would. A much better safe. So at this point now, Richard is actually in the advantage at this point. And Jeremy's going to have to kick out here. He may end up with ball in hand for Richard. And with the way he played in that last rack, if he can get to start where he wants to be, he's got a good chance to run out. And Jeremy knows that, so he goes ahead and just ties that 2 up, makes it a little bit more difficult here. He wants to take the run away from Richard. Definitely a smart move there. Even though Richard will be able to get a shot on the 2, he's made it a very small window to land in. He's really kind of taken the idea of a full run out. Richard's probably going to play this 1 ball and then find a safety on the 2. If he can get to the angle right, he'd be able to just kind of tuck in under the 7 and the 9 and put the 2 back. Actually, probably somewhere underneath, maybe the 4 and the 8. So this is really his important shot here. You notice he's looking dead at that 2 ball. He knows he can make the 1. He's just making sure exactly where he wants to land this 2, because he's going to have to play a precision safe to keep Jeremy out of the game. It is important to keep in mind you do still have to make the shot that you're on. But Richard's just going to set up a simple shot and get himself on the angle that he wants. He's just looking to land where he needs to for this safety. All right. There you go. So what you'll end up seeing here is that Richard is going to end up playing this to where he's going to go ahead and hit that 2, and he's going to hold that cue ball to the rail under the 7. He's going to send the 2 ball 2 to 3 rails up the table. He's going to be trying to stay tucked right on the 7 ball here. So it is a touch shot. He's got to get the 2 out. He's got to get the cue ball to hold. That's a shot he was looking for, but he did end up nudging that 7. Unfortunately, like I said, it is a touch shot when you've got to put that much speed on the 2, but still hold your cue ball just right. Now, Jeremy doesn't have a great next shot on this 3. He's got like the combination or a safety to play back on him. But Richard was really hoping that that would hold in on that 7 ball. If it did, he would have had a major advantage in this rack. And he would have been in Jeremy's head a little bit of getting him out of stroke, getting him a little out of rhythm, making him have to kick at a ball a few times. Jeremy with a nice smooth stroke there. Just goes ahead and plays back and forth across the table. Doesn't try to hold anything. He's just kind of looking this one over, seeing what he wants to do. You can see he doesn't have a straight shot into the pocket, so he's got the combination, or he can try to play off the edge and kind of bring a safety with the cue ball over to the other end. I think he'll probably play the combination here anyway. Oh, and he does, and he just misses it. Leaves the 6 in the corner pocket. At this point, Rich will be able to just play this. He just needs to make sure he stays above the 8 so that he can make the 4. Really, at that point, leave him an open shot on the 6 to bring him around for the 7. You see, he goes ahead and floats over it, gives himself an angle to just kind of come back and across the table for the 6. Puts a little bit of a stroke on it to come underneath the 8. I would have thought he would have just gone back and forth, but... Oh, sorry about that. I'd be curious to see what he does here with the 6. I don't think he left himself as much of an angle as he wanted to be able to kind of roll out of the table. You can see he's looking at how he wants to catch onto it. He wants to catch it a little bit rail first, it looks like, and he wants to kind of play it probably 3 rails to come back for the 7 on the back side of it. He wants to be able to kind of bring the cue ball back to the same side of the table where he is on this side of the 7. Oh, and a major miscue from Richard on that one. Fortunately, Richard with an unforced error there. It really cost him a little bit there. I think he was trying to get a bigger stroke on that and try to bring it out off that short rail and come between the 8 and the 9 rather than rolling around. It's the only thing I can imagine when he put that much of a stroke on it. If he was getting that deep into it, I think he was trying to just draw it out. And you see Jeremy, he's looking at basically coming about 2 rails back behind the 7. Or about the same shot that I was looking at for Richard, only he gets to start it from where he wants. So you see him, he's just going to brush the long rail, a little bit of left English, and he'll bring it out to the short rail, and then that English will bring it in and across over to the next long rail. Really didn't come out quite as well. I think he hoped that that would come over a little bit more, maybe about another diamond over for a little bit less angle, but he's still there. Yeah, sorry about that, Terry. That was my fault. We got the score up right now. You gotta bear with me, it's been a minute. Alright, and Jared plays a nice little shot there. He didn't have to do anything really great with that. He just had to make sure that he didn't go crazy from not being exactly where he wanted to be from the previous shot. And you'll see him here, he's probably just going to go ahead and just kind of stun this over a little bit. He'll take the 9 in the next corner. Mike, the bet is actually 250 each, so there's 500 in the middle. And with that one, Jeremy goes up 4-1 against Richard. Again, not too horrible. Richard just needs to get it back. Again, this alternate break format will give him better chances to keep Jeremy off from a run. It gives him that opportunity to come back and actually have control of the table again. And definitely, guys, keep me in line if I'm missing some things. I haven't shot pool in over a week, much less commentated or kept track of it. You see Rich having a little bit of a pep talk with himself. He'll go ahead and he'll just reset. He'll come back in and he will make something happen on this rack, hopefully. Nice separation there. You'll notice his one went by into the side again. It really kind of wants that one ball to miss that side pocket. If you're going to make the wing ball, you want the one to kind of come out to where you can still see it. Unfortunately, he's going to have a bit of a long shot here on the 2 ball. It is makeable, and Rich does have the stroke for it. He should be able to be smooth on that. Yeah, Justin, unfortunately, the commentator's curse always in effect. Oh, looks like we're going to have a bit of a player break here. So we'll just get some of our sponsors up here on the screen. Again, you have BZB Home Improvement with Dustin Bunting. Does great work. You can always get a hold of him at that number. Dependable Electric with Charles Hudson. He services Delaware and Maryland. Good work at a good price. Lakeside Physical Therapy with Pompey Pamplona. 3 locations, I believe, in southern Delaware. Kind of keep you right, make sure you can stay in the game. And Ariel, Your Highest Self with Gary Cottingham, Family Man CBD, for all your CBD needs. And Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar down in Dagsboro. That's actually Jeremy's home bar for his tournaments that he runs and plays most every Wednesday night, Friday night. And he'll have some big ones on Saturdays here and there. And guys, if you're watching this, go ahead and share this out to any of your groups or onto your own page, anything of that nature. It looks like we've actually got 68 people watching right now. Oh, it just dropped down to 59, but we do have a good number of people keeping an eye on this matchup. This should be a strong one. Like I said, Richard usually does start out a little bit slow. It always takes him time to get in rhythm. Once he gets on a tear, though, he's usually pretty good about it. And it looks like he brought a Coca-Cola can that he must have gotten from England, because it looks like it's only about 8 ounces. Coca-Cola, not a sponsor. Neither is my Wawa bag in the background. But yeah, you'll still see Richard come back into this game. All right, and Jeremy is back, so we will get back to this matchup here. He's got a little bit of a cut here on the 2 ball. Yeah, it's nothing horrible. He's just got to make sure he keeps control of it for the 3. He's going to have to kind of come back and across. I don't imagine that he's going to try to soft play this or anything. He should be able to just go back and forth. The table's not slow. It's not, lightning fast or anything of that nature, but he's really got options here. And there you see he did go to play it back and forth. Ooh, almost brought himself into that side pocket. You see him going to go ahead and collect himself a little bit here. That does give him the angle on the 3, but it did create a back cut, unfortunately. A little bit of a shallow back cut, not a whole lot to it, but he's just got to make sure he doesn't brush the rail early or anything of that nature. You'll see he's wanting to come down on the shot. He wants to just slide it over for that 4-ball. All right, he did get the slide, but he did unfortunately miss the 3. That little bit of a back cut kind of adds another touch to it, especially when it's that shallow. The pocket's not quite as big when you're coming across that line. I don't think that, I mean, it's really personal preference. Rich will probably just play a safety here, kind of get himself out of this. He does not have to play the bank. He doesn't need to do anything over the top. He can just leave the 3 on the short rail and just get himself some separation. Oof, and just barely came out from underneath of that 5-ball. If he had gotten that, he would have had him stuck. But a great shot nonetheless. And Jeremy has a full look at this 3-ball. It's really just a matter of how he wants to play this. And he elected to just play a little bit of a simpler safety. He was just kind of trying to get some separation between them, make the shot a little more difficult for Richard. Now Richard has an option here. He does have actually the bank to where he can come into it, and he can actually kind of come forward a little bit, but it is a slow bank into that side pocket if he plays it that way. He could fire into it, but he's on the rail here, so he's not going to want to do that. Yeah, John, a whole week without playing. All right, Richard goes ahead and plays a safety there. Doesn't quite get it. But he does make things a little bit more difficult for Jeremy. He's got some distance he's got to cover there and still find position for the 4-ball. And the 5's got him kind of tight coming down the rail. It is makeable, but it does make it a little bit of a tighter window there just to give you something else to have to worry about. And he's got him jacked up over the 6-ball, I think, from what I can see here. So it's going to make the shot even that much more difficult. No one will ever beat Kevin West for best hair. That is for sure. And Jeremy with a beautiful little 1-pocket bank there to bring it across the table. And comes back with position for the 4. Now it is a little bit of a sharper cut, but again, he gets to play back and forth, so he's not going to have to worry about this. He can kind of let his stroke out and just concentrate on making the shot. He may touch it with just a touch of inside just to make sure he doesn't keep the side pocket in play. Yeah, you'll see how the cue ball is kind of rolling back and forth, but it's coming a little bit that way. He put the inside just to make sure those side pockets didn't come in. But again, he was able to go ahead and stroke through that whole shot. He didn't have to actually hold anywhere in particular. It looks like he's going to play 2 rails out forward with this shot. Oh, he kept it to 1, so he's just taking a little bit of the sharper cut on the 6. He's feeling good. He's not too worried about these. This is another one. He's going to be able to just kind of bring it up. He'll have a little bit of outside. There you go. Just so it comes back across the table. And Jeremy grabbing the extension for this shot. Sorry about that, guys. Just trying to get the microphone adjusted so you're not having to hear me breathing into it so much. And it looks like Jeremy's going to like to play this with top just to make sure that he doesn't actually have to try to put a good draw stroke or anything onto it when he was playing stretched out. And he's landed just about as perfect as you could ask for with coming back and forth across it. And with this, he will take a lead of 5-1 on Richard.
I wanted it to be a little bit more 2 ways, but I bumped the 9.
And he also has the break coming to him, so it's a big win for Jeremy. He just took the rack off of Richard's break.
3, I think. I have 5.
The players just discussing the score right now. It is 5-1. And another big break there by Jeremy. He almost didn't catch anything. Something fell there at the last second. I believe it was 2-ball. But again, he's got a full view of this one, but he's letting it get away from him a little bit. He keeps landing it back onto the actual short rail. He needs that to be out a little bit more so that he can have a shot to get his run going. You're going to see him play a safety here. Depending on what kind of angle he's got, I don't think he's got the angle to quite to be able to pull this underneath the 7, but he might. I think that's where he's going to go, is try to get underneath the 7. And he hit on top of it, unfortunately. Like I said, that angle was a little off for that shot. Richard will have a nice shot here at the 1-ball. The 9's there, but it did move out of the way enough, and then he has the 3. At which point he can even play that 3 off the 8, or he can play the 8 combination, really. Depending on where he lands, he can play that because that'll actually let the 3 go up table, and he can get a little bit of control over that cue ball. So he's really just going to take his time here on this 1-ball, make sure he gets back to where he wants to be on this 3. I mean, the 9-ball's there, but 9's really no real concern. Oh, but he is jacked up a little bit. But he doesn't really have to do anything here. He just has to make this 1, and it's just going to kind of slide over for the 3 natural. And Richard didn't like it, so he went for the safety. He was trying to get behind that 9-ball. He definitely did not get there. Now Jeremy's got he's got a bit of a long shot there to get himself across for the 3. He's got to put the 1 all the way down into the corner. And he's got to have a little bit on this cue ball to go through it. His only concern would be rattling inside the pocket, but I don't think he's going to have too much of a problem with that. Oh, a little hiccup there, but it went in nice and clean. I'm curious to see how he plays this for the 4-ball. I think he's just going to draw under and use the 4, be able to do the 8. Oh, and he throws his shot. Just making sure that he got his position on that 4-ball, and he threw the 3 out with the English a little bit there. So Richard coming up to basically kind of the same table here. Let's see how he does with this one. All right, Richard plays a nice full stroke through that shot, gets himself over here for the 4-ball. Hard time really telling if he can drop that in behind the 8 or not. I mean, he has the combo here. I don't believe they're playing call shot. They're just playing call 9. Okay, and he did have the room for it. Oh, but he snookered himself on the 9-ball. It was a great shot with no reward. He played that well to make it off the 8 and get down table, but he just overran or underran. Whichever way you want to look at it, just a little bit. You can see him having a little moment with himself there. Looks like Tim's there on the stream. Tim, I believe it was you that just had a team that took first place for something, if I'm correct. And Jeremy will come up to the table with ball in hand there, as Rich did just barely nip that 8-ball as he was coming through. Yeah, John, that's definitely true. You don't want Jeremy to get too much of a rhythm. If he starts feeling good, he'll start free stroking and really kind of get into it. Again, I think the biggest advantage here is the fact that it is an alternating break format, so he should be able to keep him from getting too much of a harsh run on him. It always puts the brakes on a little bit when you get that break back so that you can actually have some control over the next rack. And I mean, Jeremy's really comfortable on a 9-foot table. You know, and everybody sees him on the bar box and such, but he does practice. He keeps up a little bit with 9-foots. I know Richard's comfortable on one. I don't know how much he actually keeps up with them. It's a little harder to find 9-foots around here to be able to really practice on. You have to find somebody at their home table. You're going to see Jeremy go ahead and play this all the way up and down. He's just going to float through this shot. just jammed it in that pocket. He was definitely trying to come around for that 8. That's one of those shots he wants to play a little bit smoother. He got a little bit of a jam into it. And you're going to see Richard play this. He'll just go ahead and play this out 2 rails. He'll probably catch the 3rd rail and come behind for the 8. There's your 1, 2, and he is going to go ahead and catch that 3rd rail, just a little hair there. Hopefully he stays above this. I believe he does still have a shot on the 8. He does. So you'll just see him play this, and he's probably going to pull it out 2 rails for the 9 ball in the same pocket. Well, I guess Richard not feeling as comfortable. He likes to play his safety, and I think he may... Oh. I don't know if he got enough of that or not. Jeremy's kind of just looking down the shot. I don't know if he can see the line or if he's playing a safety back. Okay, he's playing safety back. Unfortunately, he scratched on that one. And really, this is just going to be a matter of Richard just making sure he plays this clean. He's just going to have to come out 2 rails. He's probably going to play across the table, a little outside English. Goes, plays the 1. The 2nd rail, slow it down a little bit and bring it in line. And Richard gets to come back on this one with kind of a big mistake there from Jeremy. Richard gave it back to him. But Richard brings it back within 3. So he's not letting Jeremy get on too far of a run here. Last time Richard was up, he did manage to make a break-in run on one of his sets, so it'd be nice to see if he can pull that back together and kind of bring himself back in this game again. Again, they are racing to 15, so we're really not far into this match as it goes. A lot of people are used to seeing races to 7, races to 9, so they see somebody at 5, they're thinking, oh man, he's almost there, but they've got a lot of pool left. Oh, see Charlie's over here too. Charles Hudson's actually one of the sponsors for this with Dependable Electric. He's got a really great setup down in, what is it, Frankfurt, I believe, Charlie? He's got 3 valley tables, penguin rails, keeps them really nice down there. I actually need to make my way down there soon again. And Richard again drops that 1 ball on the side. He gets his wing ball on the 1 ball on the side, but this time he does have a shot on the 2 ball. So he may get this one to go as it is. Gumboro, okay. Would be nice to see Richard if he can bring this as a break and run back. That'll be a great boost for him to be able to say that, catches the rack and makes it actually cost Jeremy 2 instead of just 1. You can see he's really looking over this, making sure he knows how he can pull position back for this 4 ball. He's got a couple of options here he's going to go over. Alright, he likes to pull it back. Catches on the rail, he does get a position shot for this 4 ball. He does have a chance here. He can play this 4 in the side. Depending on the angle here, he may just run into the 5 and just kind of bump it off a little bit. I can't really tell exactly what he's got on it. Yeah, and you see he was planning to run that into the 5 on purpose. It spreads out for him. He did leave Jeremy an open shot, but it is a little bit of a tester here. He's got to come a long way with it. A little bit of a back cut. No worry of a scratch or anything. Even if he was going to come across the angle, the 8's got him safe there. He's just got to pull position back on the 5 ball. Not really sure if he was playing safe there or if he just... Yeah, he taps the table. He wasn't really playing safe there. He just had a little bit of a foul shot that came up good. You'll see Richard kind of taking a look at it. He's not real happy about it. You may see him go to the air. Richard does have a jump cue. He does know how to jump. I know it's not really his style, especially being a snooker player. They don't really jump. They're more of an angle play. So he's going to go ahead and play this and see if he can drop it in the corner pocket there where it is. Unfortunately, he does get behind it. Makes contact, but he got behind the ball and causes a scratch. Jeremy comes up to the table with ball in hand. 6 balls on the table. Nothing's tied up. So barring any player error here, he should pretty much make short work of this. A little close there on both sides of that for Jeremy. That 5 ball actually brushed the long rail going in. And he came a little closer to that side than he wanted to. He's left him a little bit of a stretch here for the 7, but nothing horrible. Now that 8's nice and deep in there. All he's got to do is just make it touch. He's far enough out that the cue ball will still stay open for a shot. Oh, and he made them both. Now he still does have an open shot here on the 9, but it's a lot longer than what he was planning. He was definitely going to use that 7 to come back around for the 9 for a little bit of a shorter shot. But he does call it in the corner. Gets himself set. And he goes ahead and drains that, so that'll put Jeremy up to a 6-2 lead here. Unfortunately, that scratch did cost the rack there for Richard. I can understand it though with the 9 ball sitting there, or the 4 ball, the way it was sitting in there. If he made contact with it on the front side, there was a good chance to make it in the pocket and have the 5. All right, and you'll see Jeremy come here with a break from the side. Keeps a little bit better control of his cue ball this time. But again, that 1 ball still, you see him pointing at it, still coming back to that short rail, so he's just getting a little too much into it. He really held the cue ball, did plant, but he's letting that 1 ball get away from him a little bit too much. Oh, plays a beautiful safety behind that 5 ball. Richard's got his work cut out for him to catch onto that one. He's going to take a look over. He's going to see if he has the 1 rail or not. Can't tell if he's got enough room to spin that around and catch it on the back side of the 1 or not. 2 rail's a little tricky there with it being so close to it. With the 6 and the 9, this is really a touchy shot. Really taking his time on this one. Jeremy played a really nice safety here. It looks like he's going to try and come out 1 rail on the short side, come onto the front of the 1 ball. And doesn't quite get it, but he does send the, well, he makes the 8 though. I was going to say he did send 2 to the rail with something in a pocket, but really the only problem I can see here that Jeremy might run into would be getting back to the 6 ball from the 5. He's going to have to make sure he gets onto the right spot for it with that 9 ball there. But, I mean, it's not really overly difficult, but it just does add a little bit of a piece to it. You're going to see him just draw this back for the 2. Oof. Again, coming really close to that side pocket. I think got a little more stroke on that than he meant to. You're going to see him, he's just going to pull this across for the 4 ball. But he dropped the 2. Again, Jeremy's a big fan of playing a little bit of low or playing that stun shot to slide over. I'm a little different style. I like playing that forward and maybe coming around 2 rails underneath everything. I like kind of flowing through the shot a little bit more. But that's his shot's the more correct shot. Mine's just more of a personal preference. Oh, and an uncharacteristic miss from Richard. I mean, you're going to have that, but shots like that are not ones that he misses very often. Jeremy comes in and makes that 2-ball. And again, you see him, he's taking a look at that 6 because that's what he's going to have to worry about. It's the only shot that he has any concern over right now. So you just have to see how he does this. He's just going to go ahead and play this 4. He's probably going to play a little stun just to fall to the rail and come back out. There you go, he does. He plays to the rail and comes back out. Jeremy's getting a little frustrated here. Both players are having a little bit of struggle, but I think he's going to get away with one. Richard can see the 4-ball, it looks like, though. If he can see that edge, he might be able to make it. If not, at least he can touch it and kind of play something. Anything beats having to actually kick back at your shot. And guys, I do apologize if I do get a little bit lower volume on some of this. I'm trying to not be overly loud with the players being in the same room. Hopefully everybody can still hear me clear enough to kind of catch what's going on. All right, and Richard was able to see that. He did a nice little brush there on that long rail. Puts him out here for the 5. Now, the only thing here is he just has to figure out how he wants to come around for this 6-ball. He's got multiple options. He can kind of draw it back off. He's got a great stroke for that, or he can come around the table. Richard goes ahead and plays a draw stroke. Did he get under it enough? We're going to find out. The way he's looking at it, I think he did get under it enough that he can go ahead and play this 6 into the corner pocket. And he can just come 2 rails out for the 7. And that was his 2 rails to come out for the 7 now. Not exactly what he wanted, obviously, with the miss. He did come a little bit under the 7 anyway. He would have been able to play this back cut. His one saving grace is that he did leave Jeremy a longer shot here on the 6 to have to try to come back for the 7. Whether he wants to float through it or, which kind of brings it a lot into it. He's got to put a little bit of speed into that shot. Yeah, and that's where that speed kind of comes into play, because to be able to come onto a really good shot on this 7, you had to have a little more pace to that 6, which then makes it a more difficult ball to pocket. Jeremy elects to pocket the 6. Kind of take his medicine here with the 7 a little bit. And he can still cut it, and even if he misses, he can miss to where he'll come back up behind the 9. The 7 will still be on the long rail. Now, unfortunately, he was a little farther off on that shot. When you play that a little close, if he has that shot to where he makes it in the corner or just barely misses, he comes on more of an angle with that cue ball and it doesn't come back down table. But Richard will be here. He'll be able to just play this probably 2 rails again and just land back on the same side of the table as he is now. As he beats this side pocket. And Richard just goes ahead and concedes that rack as he falls in the drink with the cue ball. Unfortunately, definitely a rough start here for Richard. Hopefully he can get something running here. He's got the break again. That does put Jeremy into a 5-game lead. That's his largest lead so far. Richard a little frustrated. He just needs to get back. He just needs to get back on his game. He has the game to win this match. Either player can. There is no real one-sided to this setup. That's for sure. And I'm going to take a little bit of break for you guys, but just keep an eye on the stream. Again, if you're watching it and liking what you see, share it out to your friends. Share it out to any kind of groups that you have. I'd love to get a lot more viewers on here and see how this match goes. Again, this is Richard British Grund versus Jeremy Mason. They're racing a 15. There is 500 in the middle up for grabs. Alright guys, and I'm back. Sorry I had to take a little break there. I've got some food to eat here for dinner. I haven't really actually had anything. I had work today and then just came straight over here so I could commentate this match for you guys. Give you something to listen to other than just some dead air. And Jeremy informed me that it was actually a score of 8-2 at that point. Looks like he got a little bit quick on himself there. Wasn't looking like he was settling as much as he was before. That might just be me, but it looked like he was just kind of speeding through that couple set of balls. So he does leave an opportunity here for Richard. A little bit of a tester with this cut, but he just has to make the ball. It comes around natural for the 9. All right, and Richard puts it right dead center, brings himself back out for the 9 on a beautiful shot here. It's just about a half table shot, so he should be able to just kind of play this in nice and smooth. Yep. And there you see it, yeah. And you see Rich's face on that one. He watched his cue. It did have a little bit of a shake to it when it went through. He may have just gotten away from a miscue on that one. But that does bring Richard to a 3rd rack there. And a little bit of a chuckle's good. Maybe it breaks a little bit of the tension for him. Get him back into it a little bit here.
I was making a ball, but I couldn't keep the one ball. That's why I made a gesture to Adam, because I changed it because my one ball kept
and you see that,
right up in the middle of the rail.
I don't know if you can hear them in the background right now. They're discussing that Jeremy, with his break, making the adjustment. He's talking about the same thing, to where he's bringing that one ball back to that head rail, so he did change his break up a little bit.
You had to play the shot a certain way. It's like the toughest shot there is with an EQ, where you have to spin it around a couple rails like that.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dan. I took a break, had to reheat some food here.
I've got a couple rolls on me too.
Mari, this is actually a 9-foot table. It's a 9-foot diamond. They're just making it look big because they keep leaving themselves on these long shots. Richard's seeing if I can find his mojo. I'm pretty sure he left it with his wife.
This girl said we're playing so bad it looks like a 10-foot table.
All right, and Richard with a break here. Looks like, unfortunately, I think that's the first dry break of the set. I could be wrong. All right. And Jeremy with a good start there on that one ball. Nice clean shot across the table. If you guys have a preferred view angle, you can just let me know. I've been kind of keeping it on this side a little bit more. I kind of like seeing the open table, but if there is a preference, by all means. And Jeremy comes up a little short there on the 3 ball now. So he's probably going to just play a safety here and just kind of keep himself in the rack. No need to play anything over the top. He can actually just kind of come across this, send it up table, and he can use the rest of the balls for cover. Right. And you see he did kind of float out there a little bit. Richard does have a full view of this 3 ball. There's not really a whole lot to do with it. He's just going to have to come with another safety shot here back. He may be looking to see if he can come up behind the 5 ball, see if the 3 will hold onto the 6. If he can get that 3 to hold at the 6, he can use the 9 for cover as well. And there you go. Uses the 6 ball to hold it, lets the 9 become a cover ball. Great safety, great shot. Really a good knowledge of knowing how to use more than just the table itself. He was actually able to use that 6 ball as part of his shot to hold the 3. You're going to see Jeremy, he's just going to go ahead and play a 1 rail into here. Now he's calling the 9 on the sides just in case he comes off the side of the 3. If he hits that 9, there's a chance it's going to float in that direction. All right, he caught on the top side of the 3. Now he did leave a shot there for Richard. And it did come actually below the pocket a little bit there, so Richard actually has a better chance to be able to come across this because now he can play the angle as he wants it. All right, you're going to see him just float and come back between. Oh, he did not want to hit those. He wanted to come around them because that 4 does actually fall on the side. If he comes around for that, he gets a really nice run. Unfortunately, he's going to have to play a little bit of a shot here. Looks like he's going to go to the air on this one. I guess he feels like as long as he touches that 4, it'll probably drop in. So, be curious to see what happens here. Nice, Dan. Yeah, you definitely won't be seeing my face on this one. I couldn't even compete with either one of these two at this point. And Richard plays a beautiful shot there. Comes back and across the table. I don't think he could have asked much better than that. He knew all he had to do was just nip the edge of that 4 and it was going to fall. It was close enough to that pocket. But that cue ball played back and forth beautifully to leave him here for the 5. All he has to do is really just kind of stun this to the rail and it'll come right back out for the 6 ball. He's just going to come out just underneath the 7. Oh, I think he kind of let that one get away from him a little bit there. Nice left Jeremy a little bit of back cut. Yeah, he's going to have to come with a back cut here. As long as he makes it, though, he kind of comes across for that 6. The only thing he has to worry about is if he ends up coming underneath the 8 or the 7. But Jeremy really doesn't have a lot of problems playing these. With the 6 being there, it kind of takes his inside English away. I know he likes playing this with inside. And with that, he elects to play the actual safety. Again, he's a little bit of a struggle with making sure that he didn't get into anything there. No side pockets, no 7 or 8, so he just played the safe play. And Richard will do the same here. He's going to find a safety to be able to play. Thomas, that's awesome. Yeah, Richard's got a few people actually watching over here from the UK. This is actually the first that I've known of people that actually kept an eye out for him. It's kind of cool seeing all you guys on here. I know Richard's real happy to have you guys here. And Richard's going to get back to the table here. He's only got a 5-ball run to make, and Jeremy has given him ball in hand. We'll see how Richard goes with this one. It's really just, again, just putting the pieces together, not doing anything stupid. You really just don't want to overwork it. That's usually my problem. I end up overworking the shots. Nice little slide there from Richard. He'll be able to go ahead and play this 7. It's really his own accord if he wants to just kind of slide off of it a little bit, hold it. Yeah, he just plays a little bit of a slide off and gets a little bit of a back cut on that 8, which actually makes it nice because now he can just float across natural for the 9. And there you'll see he puts a little bit of a stroke on it just to hold it. Beautiful. Great position. He should be able to just drop this in there. Kind of get himself back in the game a little bit here. All right, whew. And again, lets that 9-ball wipe its feet on the way in. We all thought Rich would just play a natural shot. He decided to play a 4-rail bank inside the pocket. But that does bring him within 4, so he is actually breaking that lead down a little bit again from Jeremy. Players are definitely loosening up a little bit. They're at least being able to smile now. And I've noticed that they've been putting the 2 on the back. I know with Jeremy's tournament, he normally plays by like Texas Express rules, minus that you have to call the 9. I'll double check with him and see if they're actually playing that as a rule that the 2's on the back or if it's just out of habit. Now you notice Jeremy came up with a dry break here too. Now Jeremy's trying to change his break up due to where that 1 ball's landing, and it's still landing there, unfortunately. So it's going to take some time for him to kind of figure that break out and figure out what speed he needs to get that 1 ball to stay off that back rail. All right, and I did just check with Jeremy. They're actually it's just out of habit. He's getting the 2 ball in the back. So there is no actual rack rule. All right, Richard, a little bit of a touch with his cue on the 9, but it didn't actually change into the path of the cue ball, and At our level, we don't really play all ball fouls. It is cue ball foul only, so. And Jeremy with a little bit of a stroke there. It felt like a little bit of a jab, so I don't think it took the English that he was expecting it to on that one. It didn't really sound quite as smooth as I'm used to hearing with him. I know it's hard when you're not in the room to hear it, but you can kind of hear the thud when it comes in a little strong on something like that. All right, and Richard actually brings out the rest for the first time to say. Most of us over here would just call it a bridge. But I told everybody I would bring some of those English terms into the match. Another one here. Actually, Rich is getting ready to play a screw shot on this 2-ball, just to pull it back for the 3. He's actually in a really good position here to kind of make a decent run at this table. He can play that 3 up. As long as he can hold position for this 4-ball, he's really got something going here. And he plays that really nice, really smooth, brings himself right in line for this 4-ball. He elects to just go ahead and he almost puts like a little bit of a stun. All it does is slow you down coming forward so you can get a full stroke into it. Instead of trying to soft play that, it's actually a really good skill to have in your bag, or in your case in this instance with pool. Dan, if you guys get a match actually set up on a day that I can, I'll be more than happy to commentate for you guys. I think that'd be great to watch, actually. But you guys got to get it on a day and time that I can actually make it. Unfortunately, with my job, I work a lot of Sundays, so that kind of takes a lot of it back. Yeah, Rich getting a lot of love from everybody back over in the UK. Oh, and Jeremy lays one up there. Unfortunately, a botched opportunity to be able to come back and take that lead again. If Rich gets this, he'll actually come back within 3. He'll bring it back to the beginning of the set. Again, Rich brings out the bridge or the rest. And you'll notice British is really comfortable using that when he shoots. Again, part of his snooker background, the rest is a major piece of that game. Very nice shot there. It's actually a little more difficult than it seems with having to put that much through it and still land where he is. You'll see Rich gets a really good firm set on that bridge hand too to make sure that he's got everything. And he's got to do is beat the side. He's good. And this should actually cut Jeremy's lead down to 3. And you'll notice Rich, he's putting a little more into it. You can see him, he's actually getting it. Almost gave himself a fist bump there. Jeremy gives him a congratulations from the sidelines. The good out there. It's always nice to see players that can actually stay cordial even when they're playing against each other for money. It's one of the beauties of this game is you can actually be playing against somebody and really going after them and you're still friends. Okay, and the players are actually going to take a break, so I'm going to take a break with them. I'm going to go ahead and throw the sponsors up on the screen, but I'm actually going to get a little bit of food in my stomach here. So again, this is Jeremy versus British, score of 8-5. It is British's break when they get back. He has cut that lead down to 3, so he's made it a match again, especially seeing him kind of come back into it. Yeah, Dan, on a Saturday would probably be fine. You just got to make sure you give enough notice. Unfortunately, like I'm getting made fun of in the pool world, started dating and everybody's saying I'm going to drop out of the scene, but there are things that are coming up, so you just got to give me a little bit of a heads up. I'd be more than happy to commentate that match. All right, but again, guys, I'm going to take a little bit of break with the players. I'm going to get something to eat, get something to drink, and then we will be back soon. All right. Alright guys, and we are back in the action. Nice big break there from Richard. Again, his one ball went in the side pocket, so he's not getting to actually play that controlled shot for that. But he did make one in, no dry break this time. And does have an open shot here at the 2 ball. He can see the whole ball. Whether he can make it or not, it's really kind of up to him. He does have a bank here that will hold for the 4, so it's probably worth taking. Alright, and you see there he did go ahead and try to take for it, and looks like the 2 turned in. And I believe that's to his advantage there. I think he got in tight enough that Jeremy doesn't really have the cut there in the side. He can take it on if he wants. He can also bank this across the side. The cue ball will just roll down table for the 4 anyway. Or he can play a safety. And Jeremy actually, he took on the cut, but he got away with it because he got it to actually push in front of the pocket, so Richard can't play on this side of the 2 ball. He's going to have to figure something out. And I don't think he really even has the angle to come there. Yeah, between the 4 and the 7's not quite there. You can see he's looking at the angle off of the long rail, seeing if he can maybe touch it. He's looking to see if he can come between the 7 and the 4. He might be able to play between those. Looks like he's going to play the safety actually and land underneath the 4, so he's going to use those to his advantage as a safety shot here. And actually with that bounce back up off the short rail, that plays beautifully there. Jeremy still could jump out of this, but I think he's just going to go ahead and just take the 1 rail there, try to drop it in the side. If he drops it in the side, he's got automatic position for the 4 ball. So you just see him play this kind of stiff. Yeah, see, and he played that a little softer, and it kind of let it float out on him. I'd like to see him play that a little bit stiffer, just to keep his line a little bit truer. When you play it soft on there, it does let it float out a little bit on him. So Rich comes to the table with ball in hand, and he's going to try and see if he can cut this lead down to 2. And you see him just kind of looking over the table. He's seeing the run. He's making sure that he's not just looking 1 ball ahead or anything of that nature. He's actually going to know where he wants to land on that 4, how he wants to get on the 5. The 5's the only ball that he's really kind of concerned with, is he just doesn't want to bring the 8 into play when he plays on it. And that was a beautiful shot there. And if you actually looked at that, you could also see the form from Richard. Everything dead in line, straight through. He's centered underneath his chin. His back elbow is center in line with the cue. Everything straight, straight, straight. Again, Rich goes to the bridge. He'll go ahead and play this. He's just going to play it to come off of the long rail. Just come out for the 5 a little bit. Nothing over the top. There you go. Not a bad shot here on the 5. He may elect to just kind of draw underneath this 8 and come back for the 6. Not sure, yeah, he didn't really get away with one there. Jeremy's got actually a pretty good opportunity on this shot. He's going to be able to kind of come around off this 5. He's just got to make sure he doesn't bring the side pockets into play. But aside from that, there's really nothing to foul up his shot here. He may even elect to play a little bit outside and just come with a little longer shot of the 6. He actually keeps it in line. Wasn't sure if he was going to go ahead and play for big room for error or not. And he reaches for his extension here. Looks like he's going to actually play this just to draw it out a little bit out to the center of the table. Oh, he put a big stroke on it. I didn't think he would with being stretched out like that. But Jeremy's feeling good. He was talking in the intermission that he feels like he's actually playing a pretty good game here, so he's feeling comfortable. He just wants to make sure he stays in line, doesn't get himself too quick. And he's good here. He came up a little bit underneath the 8, but that's fine. He'll just use it to come out to the long rail for the 9. There you go. It just comes off the long rail, a little bump. And there you have it. Jeremy should be taking the lead back here again, up to 4. Yep. There you go. Jeremy brings the lead back to 4 again. Puts the brakes on Richard a little bit there.
Oh, yeah, no, maybe it is, yeah.
And with a score of 9-5, it is Jeremy's break. And the players actually had a little discussion there. There was a issue with the actual score. Unfortunately, I had walked out of the room for a little bit and came back. Jeremy had made a mention of note that it was 8. But they have agreed that the coins were actually correct, and realizing that it is just now actually 8-5. So apologize for that confusion, but it's kind of what happens when you jump out of it. All right, another big break by Jeremy, but I think he just snookered himself on the 8. Oh, he did, and that 1-9 is sitting wide open. He's going to have to play for it. He's going to have to find a way to actually open that up a little bit, break something up there if he gives Richard ball in hand with this setup. There's no way that Richard will not take advantage of it, so really curious to see what's going to happen here. All right, and Jeremy likes to play the push. I'm not sure if he got what he wanted there or not. Richard can still play this as a carom off of that 1 ball into the 9. If you notice, it actually will lift. They're both off the rail a little bit, so if he actually just catches his 1 right, he can make this shot. And he has called it. You can see he's just measuring up where he wants to land off of the 1 ball. Yep. This is kind of a make it or break it shot here. Gets this, he kind of cuts that lead down. If not, he could theoretically leave that 9 open as a combination in a later shot. So he really wants to bear down to make sure he gets this in. And he does, plays it beautifully, and Richard cuts that lead down to 2. All right. So 8-6, guys. We have a match here. This is what we were discussing, that it just takes, Richard just takes a little bit of time to get into his game. Jeremy was playing really well. He still is playing really well, but he's trying to make sure that he stays in concentration with it. And unfortunately, that break just it's kind of getting away from him a little bit there. I know it's normally actually a really big tool in his 7-foot game. He's got a great break on the 7-foot table, but right now that 1 ball is really hurting him coming back on that long rail, or on the short rail, I'm sorry. And getting stuck behind that 8 just made it that much worse. So if he manages to get control over that 1 ball, he's going to come into a new game here. But Richard's going to probably try to make sure that he can take advantage of that before he gets into it. Yeah, Joe, there was the break was just a discussion because it wasn't matching the score, and it was just due to the fact that a coin versus a Burbage had gotten mixed up there a little bit. All right, and Rich again. He's dropping that 1 ball pretty regular in the side, but he is getting his wing ball as well. Little less control of knowing where your 2 ball is going to land. That's usually why you want that 1 to actually miss the side pocket. Everybody usually gets excited when it drops in, but realistically that actually takes your 1 controlled ball away. But he does have a full view of the two. No real clean shot, but he does have a full view, so he can pick and choose what he wants to do with this. Most likely he'll probably roll off the right side of it and come up underneath the 9 and the 5. Oh, and he actually runs into them, unfortunately. And I think he may have left Jeremy actually an open shot here on the 2 ball. And Jeremy's going to be shooting over the 9, so he's just going to kind of roll through this. He's going to try and miss the 6 so that he can come back up table for the 3. Unfortunately, he does miss on that 2 ball. He did get up pick table, but it does make things a little more difficult when you're having to play elevated over another ball. Curious to see what Rich decides to come up with here. Alright, and well, that settles it for me. It is not call shot. Rich was not going for that bank. He gave a little wave there. Everybody loves the Richard wave. Infamous ever since his days back at Georgetown. I believe that was a match between him and John Moody Jr., the first match that those two played against each other. Alright, nice little draw stroke there from Rich. I think he would have liked to got out a little more into the center of the table here, but he still has a shot on the 6. And he can kind of just come around 2 rails for the 7. He just has to make sure that he doesn't fall into the corner. There you go, 2 rails. Oh, he overplayed it a little bit, but he is still going to have a view of the 7. He did get underneath the 9. Definitely not quite where he wanted to be, though. So you're going to see him take his time and just make sure he looks over this. It's one of the big things is making sure that you don't just get frustrated and just settle back down, pick a new shot. And you can see that snooker stance from Rich, always with the 1 straight leg. And how did he hit it? Beautiful, beautiful shot. Keeps himself in the game here. Jeremy's going to go up and down the table. If he makes it, he has a shot on the 9. If not, it just kind of moves around. You're not going to see him play anything over the top. About the best you could ask for to come out with that one. It looks like Rich is just going to kind of play to snooker him back up behind the 9. He's going to put 7 out. Just hold the cue ball behind the 9 ball. There you go. And he actually touched those together, so Jeremy's got a really tight shot there. All right, you'll see Jeremy here. He's just trying to figure out what he wants to do with this one. Getting that 9. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a little break here. I'm just going to keep an eye on this shot for them, and we'll be right back. All right, Jeremy does have a clean hit there on that one, so Richard with a little bit of a tester out of the corner pocket here on the 7. He had a little bit of a shake on that shot. Unfortunately, he scratches on it and comes back in. You can see it in his stroke. It kind of actually shook a little bit when he went into it. And kind of punched him offline a little bit there. You see Jeremy taking his time. He doesn't want to rush this. This is big. It may seem simple, but this is a big point here. Keep Richard down. He doesn't want to give this back to him. Would have brought Richard back within one. What he's got to do is just make sure he comes through this one nice and clean. He's got to come through it straight. Nothing difficult here. Alright, you see Jeremy puts a little bit onto it. Put a bit of a harder stab on there than he needed to, but
Yeah, I think so. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. So you're gonna break it down? No, I took the last one. Because we switched the last one. I think. Let me make sure I'm right.
No, you're good. I might get a brain fart.
It's 10. Me too, though. That's the thing. Both are possibilities. 10-7.
and Jeremy with a pretty decent break there, but unfortunately, one ball again is down towards the foot rail, but he plays a push here. He didn't actually have the angle to get in. Now, he played a nice push there. He gives Rich a full view, but he doesn't really give him a lot to work with. But he just kind of lost control of his cue ball on that one. If he had been able to squat that, he would have had a decent shot at the one ball. It just kind of came out to the side on him a little bit. Dan, not sure what you were referring to, saying I don't have video on the phone. Oh, for watching the shot, yeah, but Dan, it was going to be as obvious as it can be. That wasn't really actually a hard shot to watch. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but that would have been a really obvious one. One, the speed that the 9 would have come off of it, as well as the angle and such. Alright, and Jeremy goes ahead and plays the safety here with the 1, leaves it on the short rail. From what I can tell, it's frozen on there. So Richard just tries to take it to the long rail. Not a perfect save, but, you know, it's better than nothing. But Jeremy's probably just going to go ahead and play this to let the cue ball stay behind the 7 as a safety against him. Oh, he went a little different style than I thought he would have. He kind of went with a bigger stroke there. I thought he was just going to go ahead and just play that as a simple safety and come up behind the 7. Rich plays a nice stiff stroke there. He wanted to get the action on it, but he didn't want it to go flying. A little stiffer makes the ball kind of come out a little bit slower, actually. You can see him just kind of looking over the shot. Got down on it. Happens a lot of time you get down on the shot and then it looks a little different than what you thought, so you go ahead and take a double check at it. He wants to make sure that 4 passes for the side pocket or not, or how he wants to play on that one. Alright, he took a look at it. It looks like the 4 does go right up through, so he just wanted to make sure he was landing clean for that shot. It was a little bit of a distant shot. but he really can just kind of play this as a stun and just kind of hold there. A little stop shot for the 5. Plays it nice and clean. And again, kind of the same thing here. He can just kind of play it, like kind of stun it down to the rail if he wants to, or he can just play it soft. It's really up to him. Alright, he goes ahead and just plays all the way through forward. Leaves himself a bit of a back cut there. But he'll just kind of come across the table and back out for the 9. There you have it. Just brings it right back and across for the 9. And he's going to cut this lead back down to 2 again. Richard's going to try and make sure that he doesn't let Jeremy run away with it this time. And there you have it. Richard brings it actually back within 2. Definitely turned this into a match, especially with the original lead starting at, I believe it was 7-2 at one point. Richard has brought it all the way back to 9-7 for Jeremy, but that definitely shows a lot of clout to stick in with that and stay into the game. Didn't let it get too far into his head. Brought it right back. He is within 2 in a race to 15. So they're a little over halfway through the set and keeping it close, so be curious to see how this goes. Wayne, Sam, nice to see you guys coming in to keep an eye on this. And that 1 ball does not fall on the side this time for Richard, but he does get one to come back into the corner pocket. I mean, he's got a full look at the 1. I mean, I've seen Rich cut stuff like this on the side, but that's a little tight even for him.
We can just pick it up if you want. Sure.
And players just getting the magic rack out of the set. They just want to get done with it quick before it becomes a thing. You see a lot of players that'll just let that sit there until the end of the rack, and then it becomes an argument. It's always nice to see them just kind of get it out of the way ahead of time. Curious to see what Richard's going to come up with here. He's kind of looking over the shot himself, seeing what he wants to pull with it. Oh. Unfortunately, Rich pulls into a scratch. I'm not sure if he was playing the combo or the safe there, but either way, it really didn't turn around into his favor. I mean, at least he kind of missed a little bit early in this rack. Jeremy's got a little bit of work to do, but there's really nothing really overly tied up here. I mean, the 7's actually got, I think, 5 out of 6 pockets to go into, so it's not really a struggle as long as this 2 doesn't get away from him on a combination shot. And it didn't, so he's going to be able to play this now. He's got to get it out for this 5. It really shouldn't be a problem. He can just kind of play to the rail, come out over the 6. Yep, just like that. Now his only problem is going to just be making sure that he gets back to the 7 from the 6. With shooting from the other side of the table, he's going to have to get up and down a little bit. So he's just going to want to make sure that he lands right on this 6 for what he wants to do. He's going to try and just draw this back off the 6 a little bit. It looks like he's looking at just how far back he needed to come with the cue ball there. Yeah, and he's aiming a little bit low on that cue ball, so he's going to try and bring it out off the rail. And he did. He had a little bit of a... Honestly, it looked like he moved a little bit in his stance there. I noticed a little bit of a wiggle as he shot through that. He's normally actually pretty... He's normally pretty solid when he comes through, but he had a little bit of just a little bit of movement there on that shot. It cost him for the 6 ball. Richard plays a very strong draw shot on that one. A little too strong, to be honest, but he still has a face on the 7. It's better to come out a little bit strong there than coming out weak and ended up on the 8. And Richard went ahead and played a little bit of a two-way shot there. And, you know, he knew he could try to make that 7. He knew he was going to come out to the other end of the table. He was probably hoping the 7 would stay a little bit more towards that short rail if he missed it there. But, again, it's not a simple shot for Jeremy here, so it's really going to see how he's feeling. He can take the cut on, or he can play the safe. It's really just what he wants to do here. All right, and Jeremy took on the shot, and I don't blame him, because it's really, you got a difficult safe there no matter what. You're just trying to play distance, so you might as well really kind of go for that shot. So you'll see Richard here, he's going to play, and he's going to just try and draw this over to the side and just hold in for the 8. And there you go. And so from this one, he's got his choice. He can either go all the way through down to the short rail, or he can just play it soft. It's really just personal preference. So he goes in and just plays it soft into the open field. And with this one, Rich would bring it back within 1. All right, and that brings Richard back within 1 with a score of 9-8. So definitely a lot of spirit in Rich to actually bring that back again. He was all the way down at 7-2 at one point, and he's actually brought that all the way back to an 8-9 score. It definitely shows a lot of clout. That's actually going to put a lot of pressure on Jeremy too, because that's a lot of lead to kind of let drop down there. So be curious to see how he composes himself. Make sure he stays into it. If he can get back on it, you see him there with a little bit of a release of frustration. But he's just got to get his head back in the game. You know, he's just Richard's making better use of some of the mistakes now than he was before. So you're just going to have to kind of tighten up a little bit. And again, that break is just destroying him. Unfortunately, he is caught up behind that 5 ball. He's just not keeping as much control on this cue ball as he needs to with these breaks. And Jeremy calls a push here, so he's just going to go ahead and push out across to the 7. He doesn't want to leave him a great angle. He's going to leave him near the rail so that he doesn't actually have a lot of cue ball to work with. I'm always kind of curious to see what the guys come up with on these. Multiple ways to play it, how he wants to come across. He's kind of looking like he may want to actually bring the cue ball up under the 5. It's really just a matter of whether he can beat the 4 and the 3 if he plays off to this side of it. If he goes for the 5, it's a really small window to land in. Now it looks like he's going to try and play with a little bit of a draw stroke just to slide underneath the 4 and the 3 and get back behind the 9. Oh, and he accidentally drops the 1 ball again. You'll see the wave from Richard. See if he can take advantage of that. A little bit of luck went his way. See Richard just taking his time, making sure he's lining up for his shot nice and clean. And does he beat the 6? He does. So that'll give Rich a nice open shot there on the 3. No worry of scratch here. The 4 ball is actually going to save him from that, so he can actually just go ahead and play this cut shot with a little bit of confidence here. There you see it, the 4 goes ahead and keeps him out of that side pocket. Did kind of push him back though a little bit further than he wanted to be. Well, it's just a matter of just staying clean and smooth through these shots. Richard, he deserves that one a little bit, but Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle. Rich will be one of the first ones to tell you, though, playing on a 9-foot, it's only an extra 2 feet of table. It looks more than what it really is. You can still play those shots smooth. You just have to make sure you play them clean. And Jeremy actually brushes that one on the outside of the pocket. He needs to make sure that he's kind of staying in clean with these. You know, that ball goes in, but that had a good chance of staying up there. And if that happens, Rich comes back guaranteed 9-9. Oh, and he just way too much English on that shot and just pulled all the way in. He was just trying to hold it straight across the line to come above, just over top of the 7. And he is visibly frustrated right now, and it's understandable when you get a shot, you play it clean, but you play it so clean that it actually comes back to bite you. He's going to play a 2-rail here. He's going to try and box through the corner. Nice hit. He does leave Richard a shot here with the cut, but still a really nice recovery to come out of that 2 rails. Unfortunately, sometimes you stroke through that shot so clean it takes more English than it was supposed to. A lot of times that's a product of catching a ball a little thinner than you meant to, so it doesn't actually deflect off as much, so your English plays in a little more. There's a lot of factors that will come into play for that. Richard just taking his time looking over this. He's really trying to figure out how he wants to position himself back for this 7 ball. It goes in either corner, but he has to make sure that he makes this 6, and Jeremy left him on the short side of the cut. So it's really just about having the confidence to come through this shot. Richard plays it nice and clean. He is going to it's coming close to that rail. Okay, it did stay off enough. He's left him a little bit of a distance shot again. But the distance really shouldn't bother Rich that much. He does talk a lot about where playing on that 9-foot table really isn't that much different than a 7. It just seems more ominous than it really is. Nice clean shot on the 7. Has an open shot here on the 9. Just got to make sure he composes himself clean, comes through the shot. If he makes this, he brings it back even at 9-9. And there you have it, folks. Richard has brought it back to 9-9 at this point. And I believe the break is actually going to go to him as well. So he's got a chance to actually bring it to 10. So he gets that rack back from Jeremy and has control of the next rack with the break. You guys are definitely getting your money's worth on this one. And guys, again, if anybody's watching this, you know, take the time to share this. Get it out to some of the other people. Let them watch this match. It's a really good match. You know, bring that viewership up. Get some people interested. I would love to see this number go over 100 for these two. I'd love to see over 100 viewers on these two guys. They're definitely giving you a good match for it. Rich, unfortunately, comes up with a dry break there. Jeremy has a full view of the 1 ball. It's just one of those things. He was playing for that safe to land behind the 6 and the 5, and somehow it just comes up through the gap. Rich will take this 1 on here and come back, and he'll just kind of come back up for the 2 ball. There you go, 2 rails for that. And here you'll see him, he's just going to draw this one out for the 3. Oh, I think he may have got himself there. He came in a little under that 8. He needed to stay above it. It does look like he's just going to go ahead and try to play 2 rails up behind the 3. Kick it back. There you go. And it does get to the rail. Goes to the short rail. So nice recovery shot there from Rich. He just got, that draw just got a little bit under that 8. That's all it really was. It just needed to stay above it. So Jeremy's going to go ahead and take this cut on. You see he did play that with inside English to try to stay under the 6 and the 5 for the 4 ball. Unfortunately, that does make the shot a little bit harder, especially on the distance. A lot of times that English, if you're not quite dead center, when you're hitting center left or center right, it can actually get away from you a little bit there. Robbie, you might be right. I mean, it is an Englishman playing with a pool cue. It's actually something I'd still like to see. I don't know if anybody else would ever be interested in that. I would love to try to see if we could get maybe Richard set up and let Jeremy in the sweat stream it, but I would love to see Richard back on a snooker table. Never actually seen that. I think that'd be actually a great thing to see. But I'm curious, would anybody that does watch this, would you guys be interested in something like that? See if we could maybe get him one. I know there's a couple of tables within a couple of hours. I believe there's one up north, and I know there's one over in Maryland, an actual 12-foot snooker table. Whew. Jeremy with a heck of a shot on that one. He's still leaving himself a little bit of distance here. You can tell he's shooting a little frustrated, but he's just wanting to kind of get something going here. Plays that one hold. You know, it's not something I can really tell the player, but I mean, I can watch him. He's really moving his body a lot into that. He did stay in line, but he's lifting up and then kind of coming down into those shots. Oh, that would be cool. Tarek, would you be down for that? Match up with Rich on the snooker table? Yeah, Rand, I can see that where some of them get bored watching it because there's no timer. There's a lot more safety play in it before anything happens with the runs. But honestly, I'm also somebody that really enjoys playing and watching one pocket. So it's not necessarily anything that would bore me. I think it's great watching the intricacies of the game and how it comes out. All right. Jeremy gets his lead back there, 10-9. So Jeremy's racing to 5. Yeah, so Jeremy with a good catch up there. He definitely came with some big shots there to keep that rack going.
Thank you very much, bud.
Is it back in the jacket? You said back in the jacket? Yeah, back in the jacket.
But with that, you'll see Jeremy does get to 10, like I said. So now it's a race to 5 for Jeremy. And Richard's only one behind him in a race to 6, but they're getting into the stretch. Jeremy's got a lot on the line here. If he wins this, Stefan has a great first birthday. If he doesn't, Maddie might kick him out of the house. And for the first time, I think Jeremy actually has a view of the one that's not on the short rail, but still not really a great view. But he was able to play nice, clean safety. Let's see where Richard comes up with from here. Yeah, Brian, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think it's boring. It is different. I have seen where it can get a little tedious watching it for a little too long, but Just their ability to land in such precise spots on a table that big is what really kind of blows my mind with that one. But back on this one, you'll see here with Rich, he's taking a look at this shot. Not sure what he's thinking about playing here. I think, oh, he was just lining up for a jump. I was going to say, that's a really weird masse. This is going to be a long jump shot here. He's going to try and get air over this 5 ball and still land down to be able to hit this 7. There's a good chance he might be taking out some bricks from Castro's wall. And that was my concern. Yeah, that's just a lot of air to cover and then land short.
That's not my ball. Sorry, yeah, just do it again. Ball off the table is loss of set. You do that right.
Jeremy taking a little jab at Richard. I'm pretty sure Richard now owes him the entire set just to buy him a new cue ball. Yeah. But like we were saying, that's a lot of air to cover and then land. You got a lot of pressure behind that ball, a lot of speed behind that shot. Oh, apologies, I did forget to jump Jeremy's score up there. It is 10-9. Appreciate that, Brian. Yeah, John, I think that table in Dover, though, that was a 10-foot snooker table, if I remember correctly. I remember actually playing on that as a little kid. I didn't know any better. I just went over and shot at it and thought it was a pain in the butt. Capital Billiards actually taking me way back in the day. Back when I was a little kid, used to shoot pool just for fun with my dad. I actually got babysat there a couple times. Dad would sell a car across the street at Schaefer. And just leave me with the degenerates at the pool hall. With Roach and Roland Talent and Ralph Causey, Stacy, all those guys. I got to get that picture set for Roland for his room. I've got a picture with, I think it's him and Ralph, myself, my dad, John Paul, Roach, and I think Donnie, is in that picture. All right, but back to this. You see Richard here. He's got the 3 ball. And he goes ahead and plays a nice smooth stroke on it. Leaves himself a shot for this 5. Now what he's probably going to do is just kind of go through this and see if he can maybe nudge that 6 and 9 open for his next shot. Yeah, and you see he did get a nudge. He didn't really get what he wanted out of that, so you're going to see a save come out from this shot. Bobby, I didn't know about a South State Street. I knew Carroll's Corner with Capital Billiards, and then when it moved to Horse Pond Road and it became First State Billiards, I believe Jimmy took it over from Ralph after they moved out there. Oh, see, yeah, so you guys are talking about a Capital Billiards that I didn't even know about. I only knew the one in Carroll's Corner on the highway. All right, and Jeremy coming up here with a shot on the 6. This is going to be big to see if he can get over the 7. And he does make it. And he does end up with a shot here on the 7. It's a little bit of an awkward back cut here, but you know, Jeremy's a big fan of playing a stun shot here, so I mean he can come across this, kind of come out to the side rail and still have the 8 ball. He can play a safe here if he just wants to push forward, but I think he's just going to go ahead and do what I was saying and back cut a little bit of stun out to the rail just to hold the line. And There you go, and he's got a great shot here, a great look at the 8 ball. And all he's going to do is just kind of hold this and just have the 9. You don't want to work anything with that one, you just kind of go there. Okay, so John, when you say off Route 8, we're thinking, I always went in by like Horse Pond Road, but we're talking about the same one in the business park, right?
So the reason they make this 10 is so that these numbers are still 1, 2, 3 like that.
Because I think it was Division Street, so yeah, that's still Route 8, but I always came in off of Horse Pond Road off of Bay Road. That was some of the best Chinese food you could get, actually. It was just going to the pool hall when Jimmy took it over. All right, Rich coming up to break here. Rich has fallen off a little bit here. Now he's down 11-9. So he's fallen back down by 2. He did bring it even. But, I mean, it's hard to keep that going the whole time. I mean, he did a lot of work to bring it even there. You know, Jeremy was due for a couple of racks. Nice break there. It looks like he's got an open shot at the 2 ball. Yeah, I think his big thing is, well, he's got to get from the 2 back down to the 3. That's a little bit of a tester there, and then to the 4. So he does have actually a little bit of work cut out for him. That 8 and that 6 are going to make the 4 a little bit more difficult. It's really going to be about how he pulls to the 3 off of this 2 ball. Really nice stroke there. Still left himself an angle. It's not a ton, but it is enough. He's just got to be able to play this to get underneath for this 4 ball. Like I said, that 8 and the 6 are giving it a lot of coverage from up top. So he's going to have to make sure that he gets in there. Oh. And unfortunately, he tried to put a lot onto that to bring it around across that pocket, and it just didn't quite get there. Jeremy's going to come to the table without having to do all the work here. He's just got to get from the 4 to the 5, so as long as he can bring this out and miss it, he's just got to make sure he doesn't come anything into the 8 and the 6, and it looks like he's just going to slide under those. Yeah, you see he just brings it right under him. Gets a little close to his work here with the 5, but he's still all right. He's just going to go ahead and just kind of play this back and forth and have the 6 ball. He may elect to just draw at 1 rail. Okay, and he does, and leaves himself a little bit sharper here, but again, he can just kind of play this and touch into the rail and come out for the 8, so he doesn't really have to do a whole lot of work here. He just plays this nice and smooth and comes back and across for the 8. Oh, and unfortunately, he kind of comes a little short there, runs it into the rail, leaves a shot there for Richard. Really, Richard's only issue here is just making sure that he doesn't come across into the corner pocket or anything of that nature. He doesn't want to come up underneath the 9. Really, just a little bit of outside will keep him above this 9 ball. As long as he doesn't throw the 6 on the way through. And guys, we got this up to 71, it looks like right now. Again, if you're watching this, share this stream around. Like I said, I'd love to see this thing hit over 100 for these two. All right, it looks like Richard decided to play a safety there. He didn't really like the touch that he was going to have to hold, I guess, for that 8. He was a little afraid he was going to throw that 6. So we'll just see what Jeremy comes up with here. He does have a full view of the ball. Theoretically, it's cuttable, but he did miss the last time he had this. It was the 7 with almost the same shot to where he could cut it and just kind of come up and down for the 8. So we'll have to see if that's in his head, if he decides to play safe this time, or if he goes for it. He does have the lead at this point. It looks like he actually was going to go for it and just kind of missed. I think he got away with something here, though. I think that 9's going to be kind of big on this shot. Richard a little less than enthused with the position that came up from that shot. He was trying to play and hold that underneath the 9. Gonna see Jeremy come with a nice shot here on the 6 ball. If he gets it, he's gonna come around for the 8. Again, I see him kind of floating. I think Rich still has a shot here on the 6. The only thing he's got to worry about is kind of a scratch in the corner pocket, but player at his caliber, it's really not going to be much of a concern for him. He knows where he's putting that cue ball. See him coming up here. He wants to get above this 8. He wants to get above this 8. Looks like he did get above it enough. He'll probably come around 2 rails for this 9 and play it in the same corner on the same side of the table. Ooh. He almost buffed that one, so he's got a bit of a back cut here for this 9 in the corner. But he should be able to play through this clean. He's just going to have to make sure he misses the side pocket. Make sure he pockets the 9. 9 goes in, misses the side, and Rich brings it back within 1. Both players at double digits in a race to 15. Great match. Absolutely great match to watch. These are the kind you like, watching both players have to grind it out. Nobody really taking off. Jeremy did have a massive lead there in the beginning, but Richard was able to cut it down to make it even. He still kept it within 1 here. Didn't let Jeremy run away again. These are the ones you want to see. These are the ones you want to see the rematch too. Unfortunately, it looks like my phone died, so if I'm missing anybody, I apologize. I'll have that back up here in just a minute. Got a little into watching the match, wasn't paying attention to my battery life. Alright, and Jeremy just kind of kicks up behind that 1. Gets it up to the other end of the table, and I can't quite see through Rich. And unfortunately, guys, I'm at the side of the table, so I can't see it as well. But I believe Rich is definitely going to have to be kicking behind this 1 ball. He's probably going to have to come in 2 rails. I think he's going to have to hit, the long rail, short rail, and come back and hit that 1. Or can he see it? Oh, he might be able to see the edge of it. Oh, my. Well played. Well played shot by Rich. That is a great shot to be able to put all that English into the shot and still control it like that. Very impressive. Sends Jeremy for a jump cue. Jeremy jumps with a BK Air, I believe. Nice solid contact. And I think he got away with 1 again here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to be mad at somebody when they're playing a jump shot just to make contact and it happens. Rich has still got a smile on his face.
Good hit anyways.
But, when a player's just playing that shot just to make solid contact, make a good hit with the ball, you really can't get mad at what you get left with. He's really just playing the odds. And Rich tries to play basically about the same shot as before. Like I said, that shot actually took a lot when he played that the first time. You have to hit it just right. All that English, it's got to hit solid to stop the cue ball. Otherwise, it floats out like it did on this one. So Jeremy has a shot here on the 1 ball. He is a little bit elevated here, and he's wanting to kind of hold out for that 2. He doesn't want to float under it. He plays it very well there. Nice stop shot. Nothing jumping offline. So he's got a chance here. Put the lead back on Rich. Plays that nice to come around for that 3. And all he's really got to do is just pull it back a little bit for the 4. And he really doesn't have a whole lot that he's got to work out here. Maybe from the 7 to the 8, but even that I really don't see as a big problem. He just has to make sure that he gets down to at least half table when he comes off that 7, and that really shouldn't be a problem. Jeremy's just looking to see what line he needs to be on for this 5 ball. Realistically, he can really just kind of stop off of this 4. He just wants to make sure that he doesn't back up any and pull himself under the 9 is his only concern here. It looks like he's going to actually play a little bit forward. And he's good. He got above it. Now he's making a little bit of work for himself for this 7 ball too, but he's probably just going to go ahead and draw out of this, I assume. Yeah, you see him just looking at the line. He's just seeing where he wants to draw back to, so that he can have the angle that he wants on this ball. Jeremy with a little bit of a cut here on the 7. He's got a pull position for the 8, a little bit of English. He's just got to try to not throw it as he goes into the pocket. Oh, and unfortunately, he does. He does not get any help from the 9 ball. Richard, a little bit of a tester here, though. Richard's got to figure out how he's going to come across this. He doesn't want to come in short. He definitely doesn't want to come in across on that side pocket. So he's got a lot of work here, actually, to get this to come back for that 8 ball. He's got to get a lot into this. He doesn't want to scratch up in the front corner. He doesn't want to come into the side pocket, but he's got to come all the way around this table and make sure that he misses everything on the way through. And that's the side that we're worried about. Did he get? You see Rich just kind of really disappointed with that. I mean, he did at least miss the side pocket, but I mean, that was, like I said, it was asking a lot. You got to get around that table big. Looks like he's going to try and play a rail first here, maybe to drop the 8. Definitely be curious to see how this goes. Catching that side pocket was definitely a little bit of bad luck, but even just getting to it was difficult in itself. And Rich actually comes with a pretty good shot there. He leaves Jeremy kind of end-to-end center table.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff a little different. It's wild.
Yeah, still a little, he's a little frustrated by that shot, but that was a lot to ask to get around that table with that tight of an area. Jeremy goes in and just plays kind of the side safety, just leaves the 9 ball in between them. Rich has a little bit of a view of it, so he's probably just going to try to play around and come underneath the 9 as well. And unfortunately, Richard's ball comes back. It's going to leave Jeremy a 2 ball out to go up 12-10. I can hear sighs from the players. Unfortunately, a little bit of frustration definitely settling in. All right, Jeremy brings his lead up to 12-10. So Richard's really got to bear down here. He's got to make sure that he gets this. He's got to make use of this break that he's got coming up. And again, we'll put some sponsors up here on the screen. You got BZB Home Improvement with Dustin Bunning. Custom Carpentry. All his information is on there. If you have any questions, you can always get a hold of Jeremy and or the Sweat. Dependable Electric with Charles Hudson, servicing areas in Maryland and Delaware. and Lakeside Physical Therapy with Pompey Poploma. He's got 3 locations in southern Delaware. I believe it was 3. And Ariel, your highest self, Family Man CBD, that is Gary Cottingham for all your CBD oil needs. Even does CBD oils for pets. Actually, I talked to him a little bit ago. Delmarva Billiards and Sports Bar is actually Jeremy's home bar. It's where he runs a lot of his tournaments for Friday nights. I believe there's a Wednesday night tournament that also gets run out of there. All right. Richard here coming up for the break. See if he can put something together with this one. He really needs to put a little bit of a stop here to Jeremy. We're getting a little close to the end here to be giving away games. Alright, unfortunately Richard comes up with a dry break, so the advantage actually is going to go towards Jeremy on this one. It doesn't leave him a great shot on the 1, but he leaves him where he has control to play the first safety, unfortunately. Jeremy plays a little bit of a safe shot there. It's a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure. Richard might actually take this on as it just kind of comes back and across for the 2 anyway. Nope. He actually plays for safety. I don't think it's really going to work out for him. Looks like this 1 ball is just going to kind of line up as a little bit of a duck for Jeremy. He's just going to go ahead and try to play this to come 1 rail between the 8 and the 6. And he'll play the 2 down in the corner. Oh, and unfortunately he gets a little nudge there on the 6 ball. Didn't quite get through it. He still has the cut shot on the 2, but it's definitely more difficult than what he wanted. He needed to make sure that he was coming between those balls and not running into one of them. Looks like we got Robbie Jester coming in to take a little peek at some things going on there. Great pool player from up north. Pretty sure he's a better chef, though. I actually still need to make it up to his restaurant one of these days. Or I guess he's got a couple of them. Right, Richard with an open shot here at the 2 ball. He's going to be playing to try and come back and across for the 3. Looks like he was actually trying to play up to the top side of that 3 instead of coming underneath. That would have brought that side pocket in big. That 8 may have actually saved him a little bit there. I can't really get an angle here to tell if that 3 passes by the 5 or not. I mean, it does, but I'm not sure if it can go in. If it doesn't, he's got a good safety play that he can actually put in this one. You can just kind of slide that 3 up and let the cue ball stay underneath the 5. Looks like he's actually going to come across it. Interesting. Maybe that gap between the 5 and the 3 may just be a little more tedious than what I can tell from here. But Jeremy coming up to the table, he's got a cut shot on the 3 if he wants it. It was a little bit of a tester to try and send that all the way down the rail like that, but he gets a big gain if he makes it. The rest of the rack really is not overly difficult. And he was taking it on. He just, unfortunately, just played a bad shot there. There's no really other way to put that. Richard's going to be coming into this one. He's just going to be making sure that he gets position for this 4 ball. His only concern is the 8 to make sure it doesn't come into play. There you see he plays with good speed. Gets himself a little awkward there, having to shoot over top of the 5 ball. He can still come through with this. And he comes out okay. He can still see this 5. Now he's just got to play a clean shot here. That's the biggest thing with this. It's just got to be clean. Gets a little lucky there. Comes to the short side of the 5, but he's going to have a safety that he's going to have to play out of here. Jeremy's probably going to go ahead and just play this 2 rails and tuck him up behind that 9 ball. Yeah, you see him putting a little bit of that low left on there. He's playing this to kind of snooker right up underneath that 9. Plays it perfect. Yeah, a bit of an uncharacteristic miss there from Richard. Usually those long straight shots aren't much of a bother to him. Ooh. But a nice recovery out of it. Jeremy's got a little bit of a cut there, but it's close enough to the pocket. I don't think he's going to be too concerned with it. He can just come back and forth. He doesn't have to hold anything. He can really land on either side of this 7 ball and still be fine. Oof. He really brought himself close to that side pocket. He just wanted to make sure he was pulling out above the 7, I guess. He's got a little bit of a stretch here. And he came out great on this 8 ball. This really should put him up 13-10 against Richard. So again, Jeremy stretches his lead out to 3, barring any commentator curse here on the 9. Alright, there you go. Jeremy stretches his lead 13-10 over Richard Grund. Yeah, so guys that are watching from over in the UK, I'm not really good with the time difference. What time is it over there for you guys? Just out of curiosity. Rich, just a slight miss there on that 2 ball. He did get position on the 3, unfortunately. Position without possession. 2 really wasn't off by much. Just kind of caught a little bit long on that side pocket. Jeremy with a great shot there. Had to play that with a little bit of pace to be able to pull back out for the 3. It's always scary when you're coming into the side pocket on these diamonds. Even a little bit off and they won't fall. And he pulls out the extension on his cue. He's got a real long stretch on this, but it looks like the 4 is pretty much a duck. And how unlucky is that? He manages to come between that 6 and the 4 and fall in. I'm not sure he gave that the full respect that it deserved. It really looks like the 4 was going to be a simple one, but he just kind of played through that shot a little bit. It's definitely a stretch even with that extension on. .1:20 a.m. Good Lord. You guys are dedicated. Either that or you guys are just still partying from Christmas. Richard playing nice smooth shots here. Play that nice and clean. If he does this, he can cut back into this lead a little bit, get a little bit of confidence back under his belt. He just needs to run through this rack. Remind himself that he can finish through the set. It's a real big part of this game. Confidence is definitely a big part of the game. You don't want to be overconfident and go for things you shouldn't, but you gotta have the confidence to know that you missed a shot, you can still make it next time. And there's Rich playing nice and smooth, and he leaves himself a little bit of a cut here on the 8, which is nice. Sometimes that straight shot is actually more awkward than just a little bit of a cut, and on this he can just kind of pull it back. He's going to stun it to the long rail and just have a shot on the 9. And he pushes it in. He pushes that one in, just cuts it a little too much into the rail. And Jeremy comes here with a good opportunity to get on the hill. Looks like it may have died on him a little bit. He's still got a pretty good cut shot here. Jeremy just has to take his time, make sure he gets through this. He doesn't want to overthink it, doesn't want to underthink it, just wants to make the shot and get out of the rack. And unfortunately, I think he let something kind of get in his head a little bit there. He was trying to just make sure he made it. He didn't want to overthink it. Now, if Richard can compose himself, he has the chance back to the table. Just needs to make it happen.
Oh my Lord.
And unfortunately, a frustrating rack for Richard here. Sometimes that 9 ball gets really big when you already missed it once. Well, he missed the 8, but still the opportunity coming back to you. It's almost nerve-wracking. Alright, and with that one, Jeremy goes on the hill against Richard.
Mine. You're on the hill, right? Yes.
Alright, but again, Richard has the break here in this alternating break format. So he's got a chance here to at least kind of try to make a comeback on this. But he really needs to have a good break here. He needs to be able to have control of the table. Jeremy only needing 1 rack at this point. This is going to be a big rack for Richard. He needs to put a little bit of stop to this. He needs to put the brakes on Jeremy. He needs to put a little bit of confidence back under his belt. And honestly, this break is going to be a big part of that. If he can get a nice, good break, have good control over it. And unfortunately, he comes up dry. That is not what you wanted. I mean, Jeremy doesn't have, again, he does not have an open shot to make the 1 ball, but he has control over the rack. Jeremy gets to play the first safe, which ends up having Richard having to struggle from underneath. And how'd he play it? It looks like it slowed off on him. Beautiful. Richard immediately going to the jump cue here. Kind of a little bit of a touchy jump with this. He's got to get over a decent set there again and then land. Is jumping. The distance he has to jump is actually larger than the area that he needs to land in. And so much had happened on that one. But unfortunately, with an air ball there, Jeremy comes in. Again, he has control of the rack. Maybe his most difficult is probably just going to be figuring out that 3 ball. He's going to have a little bit of work to do there with the 3 and the 6 and the 5, but he's got open shots. He's going to have options there when he pulls off of the 2 ball. And guys, keep in mind, we'll probably try to pull an interview on this matchup maybe after they get done. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask the players or any insight that you wanted to give into them. I would love to see some questions to maybe talk to them, see if they have anything that they want to go over. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured there. He'd just go ahead and play the carom. He actually played that really well to get that 3 up off the rail as well, so he has an open shot here. I know Jeremy's going to try to make short work of this rack. He doesn't want to let Richard come back into the game once he's hit the hill. He definitely does not want to stall out here. He's just looking at this. He's got to figure out how he wants to come across for this 4 ball. He doesn't want to scratch up in the corner, but he doesn't want to get stuck and have to play a combination across the 7 either. Alright, he plays that really well. Uses that 5 ball to his advantage. Gets himself positioned for the 2 ball, for the cue ball, so that he can play this 4. It's a little bit of a cut. He's got a little bit more than it looked like from over here. So he should be good with this. He just needs to make sure he lands good on the 5. Now he went for the bank. I really thought he had enough to do the cut. He obviously played the bank for position. The ball did bounce out enough that Richard's going to have a shot here. And this is really where Richard needs to bear down. He needs to get this rack. If he gets this rack, he can come back into the game. Put a little bit of a stall on Jeremy. See if maybe he can get into his head a little bit about just being on the hill. Not that 1 rack that tends to elude for some reason. But he's got to make sure that he puts it to him here. Here's some exasperated sighs from him at the table. He's really not feeling great about it, but he's just, you got to bear down, man. You got to break through it. And with this, he should be good. He can play this with a little bit of a draw stroke, come back out, play the 8 in the side pocket. He can play the 8 down into the corner. Personally, I think I'd like playing this with just a little bit of a draw stroke, let it kind of touch to the long rail and come out for the 8, so I can float back down for the 9. Just like that. Just like that. He just wants to get off the rail. With that one, I mean, he's going to have to look at his angle and see exactly what he's got. He might have to just play this for the short side. I know he wanted a little bit of a straighter angle to be able to touch that rail and come out, but he may just have to play this short side and come in on this 9. Rich does have the touch for that, though. And there you see it. Comes up, has a little bit of an angle here. Now he's just got to make this 9. Puts him right back in the game. I know it looks like a big lead, but really, he just needs to get the confidence underneath of him. Oh, a little bit of a heart attack there for Richard watching that one. He got away with one there, but definitely a good shot. Definitely a good shot. Way to bring himself back through the game. Looks like he's going to take a little break, get himself composed, and then the players will be back. All right, and we are back. A little bit of a player break, commentator break. Jeremy, unfortunately, with a scratch there on the break. Gives Rich actually the advantage here on this rack. He's actually going to be in control now. He gets to make the first move. Jeremy actually opened a pretty big rack up here. It looks like the only problem ball might be getting onto that 3. Opposite end from the 2 ball, and the 5 is going to be big. And the 8 can actually come into play on this 2. If you look at it down there on the bottom rail, if Rich gets too far down, the 8 comes into play. If he comes in too shallow, the 5. So he's going to have to make sure that he lands where... He's going to have to make sure he lands pretty good here on the 3. As long as he can see it, he'll have options to either cut it or play safe. But if he ends up anywhere really... I wish I had a telestrator pen, but if he lands anywhere really around that center diamond, center table, basically on the head string, anywhere around the head string, he should have a good shot at the 3 ball, and he can just come back and forth across for the 4 ball. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Definitely a good opportunity for him to be able to put a little bit of punishment onto Jeremy for his mistake. And does he get enough spin to get himself above it? Yes, he does. That should give him plenty of room there to get in on that 3. And again, the 4 ball is going to be open from anywhere on the table. Depending on how much angle he's got, he might go under the 8 and come around 2 rails or 3. But now he's going to go ahead and play a little outside and come above. Alright, so he should be good here. It looks like he's going to go ahead and just play the little bit of a draw, a little bit of kind of a stop slide to have a shot here on the 5 ball. There you go. Not sure he's quite as much angle as he wants on this, but he can just kind of stop the ball there. He still have a shot on the 6. He doesn't really have to do a lot with this shot. So you see him cueing a little low here. He's just going to kind of pull it back a little bit. Unfortunately, he did miss the 5, but he did miss it well. He's going to have to try to play against a safety here from Jeremy. He's going to have to come up with a shot. It's going to be touchy if he tries to stay under the 8. He may like to bring the cue ball all the way back and around under the 9. He's going to play the touch shot under the 8. And he got a little bit of a double kiss there on the 5, but it looks like now Rich is going to be playing kind of the same shot, but I think Rich is going to go ahead and play this to where he can send that cue ball up underneath the 9, put the 5 back kind of where the cue ball is actually. If he can play it at the pace to where he gets that 5 to come back under around where the cue ball is, and he gets the cue itself to actually get up around underneath the 9, he should have really good safety here. Not sure if he sold out with that one or not. I can't quite tell what the 8's got. Jeremy might have enough room to come in between there. The way he's looking at it, I think he's got the edge of that 5. And he did. And you see him go quickly for that chalk. And Jeremy may be able to turn this one around and take the win with this rack. See him just composing himself. He wants to make sure that he's right. He's trying to not get too sped up on this. Jeremy looks like he's definitely going to try and take this one away from Richard here. What he's going to do is bring it back smooth to this 9. He has overrun it just a hair. Again, Jeremy's really not really worrisome about these back cuts. It's actually one of his go-to shots. I've seen him do it a lot. He's not going to like that he wasn't able to step into it there. He likes to be able to walk back and into his shot, but I don't think it's really going to affect him here. And it didn't. And with that, Jeremy does take the win. You'll see the players shake hands, and Jeremy wins with a score of 15 to 11. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of break here. Players may decide if they want to do interviews or not. And just kind of go over a little bit of how they felt about the match and such. So we can stay tuned for that. I'll let you know what's going on. Yeah, and we'll have a little interview for you here shortly. The players just going to clean up their cues a little bit, and then they'll be over. All right. All right, guys, and I've got Jeremy in here. He's just going to do a little bit of interview with the players. It looked like you came out to a really good start there. I think you came out to about a 7-2 lead at one point, and then it kind of started to get away from you.
Yeah, so I would say up to the time that I led 6-2, I played some of the best pool I can play on the big table. I made very few mistakes, and any mistake to that point that Richard did make, I was able to get out and really put a hurting on him. And I think I did. You're right, I did lead 7-2, but it turned into that rack. But from 6-2, I think I did win the next rack. But British, I think, made 2 or 3 errors, which I think ended up with him scratching on the 9 or scratching from the 8 to the 9 or something. So
yeah.
I won that rack, but I could have easily lost it.
Yeah, and that was the big thing, was even in the beginning, you did have a couple mistakes, but you only made one. So
yeah,
Richard made a second mistake, and he didn't get away with it.
Yeah, so as I remembered, I think even the balls that I missed in that first stretch were not on open tables. They were tables where I was maybe trying to play a couple shots to get to a safety to open things up or something like that, or maybe a safety error. But as I remember it, for the first 8 games, every time I had a runnable table, I feel like I got out, which I was very proud of, because I'm not much of a big table player. I feel pretty comfortable but it's still a long way from my preference. I enjoy, not as far as enjoyment goes, but as far as comfortability.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest struggle I was seeing was just your breaks was a little less controlled than I think you would have liked it. Your one ball was getting away from you coming up towards that short rail up at the top, which was really.
I was going to say, I don't think I had one offensive opportunity off of my break the entire set.
No, and it was something I was discussing even during the match. It's hard because it was kind of killing your advantage when you have that break. You have control of the rack, and instead you were having to play a safe or a push right off the bat. And it actually started to go into Richard's favor there towards the middle, because even when you did have the break, it wasn't helping you.
To me, it wasn't that big of a factor in the match. I thought at any point in the match, if you go back and look at whether it was early when I was controlling or middle where Rich kind of made that comeback, and even at the end here, I had opportunities almost every single rack to win each rack, and I just really, really struggled in the middle. And part of the issue I have is, I think when I get off to a great start like that on the big table, I want to go into that kind of freewheel mode that I play on the bar table sometimes, and I just can't do it.
I definitely caught it a couple times. You sped up a little bit. Even this last rack, you actually caught yourself speeding up and actually slowed yourself down. It looked like you were getting ready to kind of run up to that 8 ball, and you just kind of held for a second, and then kind of came back into it.
You know, I missed that shot so many times, and that was a shot similar to that where I had a pretty thin cut to one of them up table corner pockets, and I had to play kind of a flat ball. That's probably the most I missed any shot in this entire match. I just missed all of those, and that was fine. I finally hit one pretty good there. And you could see I found that I didn't have the speed right because I was used to hitting fat the entire match, and I went a little far and had a little back cut on the 9. But proud of 2 things in the match. Proud of, one, first of all, anybody out there that doesn't know Richard, I have to say, like, I know that if he and I match up and he's in dead punch, I have to play the way you saw me play the first 8 racks there. I have to play like that for an entire set if I'm going to have a chance to beat him. Richard is not in stroke. He's not playing much, and he's just a fierce competitor. I mean, just grit and grind kept him in this one for a little bit. He caught a little bit of a good feeling in the middle there.
Yeah, and he's also trying to come to his own with a new cue, too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you mentioned that during the match, but people don't realize how any cue change is big, but to go from the kind of toothpick one-piece cue that he was used to playing with.
Yeah, I believe that was like a
It's
8 or 9 millimeter
difference.
cue.
Yeah, he's playing with like a 3 millimeter difference from what he's played with his entire life. So I can't say enough about how much I respect my opponent. And this is a guy that has tortured me on the pool table for a long time. So it feels good to get the W, but I know for sure that I didn't get his best shot. So I'll have to match up with him again once he gets in stroke, gets used to the new cue. We'll have to play again, but I'm gonna have to play better.
I mentioned that a rematch would be great to see. And it was nice to see, though, that actually when you guys got into the middle of that rack where he started to come back, you didn't let it just fall off. He brought it all the way back even. I believe it was actually 9-9 at one point. Brought it even halfway through the rack, and you managed to actually go ahead and still catch a gear and turn it around.
I wouldn't – well, catching a gear is saying it very – I wouldn't say that. I will say this because I never felt good. After leading 6-2 and then starting to make some mistakes, I never got that good feeling back the entire set, ever. It was a grind. So what I started to say, I just wanted to give some love to Richard before I say anything. But proud of 2 things. One, I showed I can play on the big table early in the set. I showed a little bit of what I'm capable of. But more so proud of I really, really struggled in this set. And I came with some big shots when I had to, tough ones. I remember a couple right when he got level 9-9, the next 2 racks, I had to make tough shot. And I got a 2-game lead again there, and he never caught back up after that. He got to within a game, I think, the one time. But after.
Yeah. You pretty much, once you guys got past that 9-9, you kind of you held the lead beyond that.
Yeah.
So, but it was definitely a good match to watch.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing the commentary, man. I know it makes it a lot more enjoyable for everybody at home. I'm going to get out of the way and let Richard have his interview so you guys can hear from him. He's a great, but can't say enough, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in pool, just friendly and competitive, which a lot of people struggle to find a balance there, but he's a fierce competitor, and he's an absolute gentleman. Yeah. So can't say enough about that. But yeah, I'm happy to get the W, but I hope everybody knows that that was not the Richard Grund that I know. It's going to get tougher if we play again.
He's going to have to put some time in. But
all right. Well, anyways, I appreciate you, Adam. I'm going to get out of the way.
Problem.
Thank you so much.
Later. All right, guys. Well, we've got Richard here in the interview booth, per se. Little bit of a struggle for your match.
Oh, yeah, man. Definitely a struggle. Even when I went and shot a little bit of practice today, I was struggling with some just basic things. And it carried over early on. But when I missed, man, Jeremy just capitalized.
He did. And I noticed you, it's kind of like a set with you. You always kind of start out a little bit slow, it seems like, at least on the 9-foot table that I've seen. You kind of start a little struggle, and then you kind of come into your own, and then it's just a matter of whether you hold that or not.
I mean, same thing like Jeremy said, that like if we had a 9-footer around like we used to be able to play on a regular basis, you kind of get used to it and whatnot, but that's still no excuse.
It's hard practicing though from a 7 and then having to come to a 9. I know you always say it's only a couple foot difference, but
yeah,
it makes a difference.
When you're away from the table and you're looking at it, it doesn't look that big, but when you're down level on the table and you're looking at a 9-foot shot, and even if you want to just stop it, it changes your mindset a little bit, but it's still no excuse. I know I can put better than that together. So, and I definitely will have to.
Yeah, we'll have to try and get a rematch. It looked like you had a lot of friends and family from the UK that were actually watching this, staying up really late to keep an eye on this.
They haven't. When I played snooker way back, everybody knew me as the kid who could play snooker. Everybody, and they haven't seen me play since 20 plus years.
Yeah, I wonder if any of them were laughing that you're playing with an actual playing cue, which is definitely a big change for you.
I know. I kind of wish I had my snooker cue, but I really got to keep this going. Get used to it. I've been playing with it literally not even a month. So definitely a big difference with some shots.
That's a real big change because I know you're big on the feel. Plus, it's also a lot larger diameter. You were playing with what, a 8 or 9 millimeter tip?
9.75. Now I'm playing with 12.75. So
yeah.
It's the touch shots, the feel shots, the draw especially.
Yeah.
So, and the biggest thing I have when I play like a thin cut, and I usually play like outside, I'm used to allowing the ball to swing in and out, where this just goes straight.
Oh, you're used to a little more deflection with that.
Oh yeah, I'm used to going swinging the ball.
Well, it looked like you held yourself together though. I mean, for struggling with not being on the 9 foot as much, playing with a completely different even type of cue, to go from a 1 piece to a 2 piece, to go from 9 millimeter to almost 13 millimeter. I mean, you held within 4. That's big, and you brought it even. Like, you didn't let yourself struggle too far out. You were down 7-2.
Well, the past couple of weeks, though, what I've been struggling, I left myself behind the 9 ball after behind the 9 ball for the 8 ball. I left some shots out there, and I've been doing that. Not a lot, but I've done it quite a bit, leaving myself stupid on a certain shot. But I mean, it's pool, man.
So do you feel like you guys will have a rematch?
Oh, heck yeah, man.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
And I will be.
And we were discussing it, if you'd be open to it. I don't think Tariq actually gave an answer, but we were all kind of talking about maybe possibly getting an actual snooker match, possibly between you two.
I'd have to get another tip on my cue, wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Even though that's even bigger than what a normal snooker cue would be, but heck, you have to go to New York.
But how would you feel about that?
I would be terrible. When I went back to visit, I could only muster up a 32 and a 40 break. That was like my highest break I could do, and that took me forever to do it.
I'm pretty sure I've made 3.
I used to be able to draw. I used to be able to draw a 12-foot table.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way back from deep in the pocket.
But is it something you think you'd be interested in?
Oh heck yeah, man!
Just a throwback. But I mean, I'm assuming you and Tariq probably both have not played on a snooker table in God knows how long.
I played on it for a few days, and how long have I been here? 21 years.
Yeah.
But to be on there, just to play the game itself is fun. And everybody should get a chance if they get the chance to play.
We might have to look out at that. Do you want to give a shout out to any of your people that were watching from overseas?
Well, I can't wait to actually everybody overseas. And sorry I let y'all down, but Jeremy played lights out, man. When I made a mistake, he capitalized. I can't wait till this gets uploaded to YouTube so my dad can watch it. My dad hasn't seen me play for 20 plus years, and that was he couldn't stay up this late, obviously. So.
I don't blame him.
No.
I asked what time it actually was there, and somebody told me it was about like 1:20 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning.
We started basically at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
so.
That's some dedication that they were keeping an eye on it, watching it.
It was definitely fun. Definitely need to get back on the tables, and my missus is down with me playing a little bit. I mean, obviously I'm here, and she's got some time freed up, so you'll be seeing me back on the tables a little more regularly in next year, preparing for all the Maryland bar boxes and not big table matches and all
Maybe
that kind
the
of stuff.
USAM again?
Oh, I'm definitely going back USAM. My goals are US Open. I'm playing seriously and really trying to keep it together, but I got a lot of work.
It's definitely a lot of work. I don't know about the 9 foot, but I know you got some good 7 foots coming in too. Now, I don't think Jeremy will mind, but we've got Brown's Tavern is actually going to have 4 brand new diamonds to have some stuff going on. I'm hoping to maybe get Jeremy to bring a stream over there once in a while. Might run a tournament out of there.
It'll be fun, man. It'll be a lot of fun. I mean, any diamond, I don't care if it's 7 foot or 9 foot. I mean, diamonds they'll make or break you, man. You leave that ball hanging in the pocket. Like
they'll make a man out of you, that's for sure.
Man or something else. So. Tonight got the better of me, and
but like I said, you still played well. And the nice thing is that you're still going to come back.
I appreciate y'all saying I play well, but I know where I can be. So, but we'll get there, and I hope to bring a better game next time with Jeremy, and same for him. And even though he played fantastic, so
cool, man. Well, I look forward to your dad seeing this on YouTube.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.